Fertility rates, or the average number of children women give birth to, are a key indicator for population stability. When the number falls below an average of 2.1, populations start to shrink. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Caitlin Taggart was a beautiful, lively girl who loved laughing and playing outside, but all that changed at the age of 12. Caitlin slipped into a persistent vegetative state, confining her almost entirely to her bed and Facebook.
She doesn't even have basic motor functions anymore. We literally have to drag her to the car to drive her to school in the morning.
She's totally unresponsive when we talk to her. Her eyes just roll back in her head.
Caitlin, honey, it's your dad.
With no hope that their daughter would ever recover, the Taggarts decided to seek legal permission to end Caitlin's life.
It is the most difficult decision we've ever had to make, but we just keep reminding ourselves that the real Caitlin is already gone. That's just her body texting.
We give her one painless injection, and that's it. Her eyes may flutter a bit, or she may murmur, "Are you for real killing me right now?"
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here if you want to take control of the airwaves. You can do that. The easy way to do it, 855-450-FREE. That's toll-free, 855-450-3733. Also, we've got the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. You can hop into one of those, and then you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. It's Ian and Mark, as it normally is here on a Thursday night. We have a special guest co-host with us. Tyler, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a great pleasure to have you here. You are dressed for the occasion with your Hawaiian shirt on.
Trying to feel festive, yeah.
Looking snazzy. Now, we're going to get into the issues here, but I want to just kind of, introduce you and welcome you to the program. You are somebody who moved up to New Hampshire as part of the Freedom Migration, didn't you?
That's correct. About 2 years ago now.
2 years, and you found yourself last week at your first nightcap event on Friday night. You and some of your Liberty friends came out, and of course we've been out there for I think 14 or 15 weeks now. Every single Friday night, we start at 11:59 at night, and we started doing these nightcaps when the governor, or as they call him, His Excellency, in the various different orders he's been issued an order saying that people needed to stay at home and that you couldn't gather in groups of larger than 10. So that same night, we decided to restart this sort of decades-old thing, or a decade-old thing that we did back in 2011 called Keene Nightcap, where we basically go out and openly drink alcohol on Keene Central Square. And so we've been doing it week after week, and many of the weeks we have had more than 10 people, which apparently is no longer a violation of the governor's orders as of a few weeks ago, I believe.
But why not?
But it's still fun. I mean, we're still having a good time, and we're still violating the open container ordinance, so it still is civil disobedience. But you came out there, and you had some really nice things to say about Free Talk Live, and I forget how it ended up being the case, but I invited you to come in and sit in on the show. So
yeah,
thanks.
Well, thank you again for having me, and just meeting you guys out there.
Mark wasn't there.
Mark wasn't there. You were there, Ian, and I just let you know that
he's got a family.
Yeah, Free Talk Live is actually a big part of why I moved out here. So
wow, really?
It's really an honor to be on the show. Yeah.
And you came from what? Washington?
Washington State. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually moved out here from San Diego. 8 years in the Navy. That's where I ended up. And so
they brought you back to San Diego, and you got out of the Navy, and the first thing you did was come to New Hampshire?
Well, the first thing I did was I went and saw family in Washington.
Right.
I kind of zigzagged my way across the country, seeing old friends, with this always being the ultimate destination.
Right on.
Yeah. And it's been great since.
So you were listening to Free Talk Live while you were in the military?
Yep. The First time I listened to Free Talk Live was in 2014. I was deployed to Okinawa, Japan, and I had just about had enough at that point in my career.
Of the what? The bureaucracy?
Just of the bureaucracy and the fact that we weren't treated great. I was with the Marines for half of my career, and they were treated a lot worse, and they treated us like numbers. And
so the first half was the Marines, and then
sort of, yeah,
Navy,
it was kind of
half?
sandwiched in the middle. The Marine Corps uses Navy corpsmen as their medics, essentially.
Right.
So I was attached to a Marine infantry unit for a long while there. Two, actually. And
Gotcha.
yeah, so I just started looking up libertarian podcasts, and I found Free Talk Live, and I didn't agree with you guys on everything at first. You guys were saying how,
how could you agree with us on everything?
Sure.
At any point.
Were you
definitely.
So you considered yourself a libertarian at that point already, or what spurred you to?
Yeah, definitely. Ron Paul, 2012. That's what did it for me.
Okay.
I was ready for something different, and as soon as I looked him up, I was like, this guy's platform lines up perfectly with a lot of what I think.
He's sane.
Right. Yeah, he's the one sane guy. Exactly.
Man, Ron Paul. I mean, he just chalks him up. So many people have come into this movement because of that one guy.
Yeah.
And his amazing presidential campaigns that really just converted and changed people's lives. Incredible.
Yeah, for so long we were just like, all politicians suck except Ron Paul.
Right.
And Free Talk Live went on the air.
It's still a true statement.
2002, and it wasn't until 2006 or 7 before anybody was getting any kind of traction. So, there's all those years that we were just like, except for Ron Paul.
Yeah. And it's still true. He's still the best, even though he's retired. At this point, he's still out there, of course, doing, I think the Ron Paul Liberty Report or some sort of
he's doing a podcast.
Daily. I don't know if it's daily anymore, but he has this sort of
people
occasional thing that he appears on. And so kudos to him for that. So, I mean, we don't need to get into your full story. You're going to be here with us, and we'll take your calls. There are open phones here at 855-450 free, but I'm grateful to have you here and glad that you're still here because you were thinking about leaving New Hampshire. And then you managed to meet some pretty cool people, right, within the movement.
Yeah, I finally went after 2 years to the New Movers meet in Manchester.
Okay.
And I really started to network there. And I was getting ready to move back to Ohio to live with some other friends and just thought I needed a change. But, with coronavirus and everything and the riots, it just didn't seem like a great idea at that point. And somebody suggested, hey, why don't you come up to Porkfest? You haven't been there in almost 4 years. So I did. And it just sealed the deal for me again.
Yeah.
That was a big reason I moved up here too.
Porkfest is amazing.
It is. It really is.
No doubt.
Porcupine Freedom Festival.
That's true.
Porkfest.com.
We were there actually at the same campground, and I was actually allowed to attend the Porcupine Freedom Festival this year. I actually was allowed to attend last year, so again, I was at the Porcupine Freedom Festival. And one thing's for sure, at the Porcupine Freedom Festival, you can be certain that the person you're looking at is actually the person who you're looking at. Unlike the internet, where there's this thing called deepfakes. So that's where we're going to start here tonight. And normally when we talk about deepfakes, it's sort of in awe of the technology. We'll have some clip of some deepfake wizard who's taken, I think it was Robert Downey Jr.'s face and put him onto, I think it was Christopher Lloyd in Back to the Future. And it was amazing, right? Like some of these deep fakes are just absolutely stunning. Have you seen some of these things, Tyler? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Joe Rogan talked about it on one of his shows, and I know that I've seen there's engines you can just type in anything you want a celebrity to say. Jordan Peterson had one. You could just type in anything, and they'll speak it out for you, and it sounds convincing.
I haven't even seen that yet.
Yeah.
Do they speak it, or do you see them speak like it's actual video?
The ones that I'm referring to was just a speak engine.
That's still pretty impressive.
Right.
So now they're doing the same thing with video, right?
Yeah.
Where
and anybody who's been a talking head for any period of time has their mouth in every single position.
Right.
So one of these engines will come up very quickly with a video of Jordan Peterson wishing your 5-year-old daughter happy birthday.
And
right?
you don't
no big deal.
Well, and the thing is, Mark, you don't need to have their mouth in any of specific positions. They've done deepfakes with a picture of, the Mona Lisa. One frame. They've done pretty convincing, given the source material, deepfakes with that. So what they call machine learning, I think is the terminology. It's kind of like an artificial intelligence, but not really. Without getting into too much detail on that, because I can't. But the idea is
you can look at people saying happy birthday.
You give it some inputs, and the machine, the AI, can sort of fill in the gaps, and it's incredibly persuasive. and hard to detect. Now, there are some so-called experts out there who have things that they look for, and they kind of know the hallmarks, basically, of this technology.
But they got to run some program on it to tell the difference.
They have programs. Some of them say they can tell by looking at it, but it's going to get better.
Some sommeliers will tell you that they can tell a good wine from a bad wine, and it turns out that under
do
tests,
a double-blind study, and we'll find out if that's true. So here's a story about this is going to go in a different direction for the deepfakes, because like I said, normally it's like, oh, well, look at how amazing this is. Here's the latest deepfake from the internet, and oh my God, it's so wow, it's so great looking, and oh, here are the ramifications. This could be made to be used to have you say a thing that you didn't actually say, or politicians say things that they didn't actually say. So it throws into question reality itself, and it throws into question all video footage basically at this point. So I mean, that's really going to run it's going to be really hard to get people convicted of crimes on video footage, because they're going to be able to say, well, how do you know that's really me? I mean, there's some real ramifications to this.
Right. That will be that'll be a defense within the next 5 years, and within the next 10 years it will be a legitimate defense.
So, but this goes in a different direction. This goes into the idea of creating a fake person from essentially whatever inputs, but they're not trying to pretend to be a celebrity, or they're not trying to pretend to be a politician. They've made a man, allegedly, named Oliver Taylor, and he's allegedly a student at England's University of Birmingham. He's 20-something with brown eyes, light stubble, and a slightly stiff smile. Online profiles describe him as a coffee lover and politics junkie who was raised in a traditional Jewish home. His half-dozen freelance editorials and blog posts reveal an active interest in anti-Semitism and Jewish affairs, with bylines in the Jerusalem Post and the Times of Israel. The catch? Oliver Taylor seems to be an elaborate fiction. 855-450-FREE is the toll-free number. You can share your thoughts here. We'll get deeper into the deepfakes, tell you more about this story, and you can share your thoughts as well. It's Free Talk Live.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
News from news.bitcoin.com. BTC miners give off a signal of intending to sell. Does this mean a bear cycle? New Zealand police seized $91 million from a Russian exchange operator. Anti-crypto SEC head stepping down, making Bitcoin ETFs more likely. And you can make money by referring people to exchange.bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com. The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app, and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything you want. Toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. 855-450-3733. At this point, you can be fairly certain you're talking to real live human beings on the radio, but eventually the computer technology, chatbots, are going to get good enough to where it's going to get tough to tell the difference.
Right. I mean, conceivably, they can ping the internet for the most interesting topics to talk about and string together more interesting verbiage than I can.
Maybe our jobs are in jeopardy here, Mark. Maybe at some point we'll be supplanted by AI.
I tell you, AI can talk intelligently about politics, sports, food, and like everything you want to talk about. I don't know anything about food or sports. I know a bit about politics, as much as I could stomach at any given time.
So tonight on the air with you, you can join us here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. I'm Ian.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Mark.
All right, so we're going to go to, oh, by the way, we'll go to your phone calls here in a moment, but I do want to tell you about Bitcoin.com, longtime sponsor here on Free Talk Live. They are a great site to go and learn the basics about Bitcoin, and Bitcoin Cash, and cryptocurrency. It is definitely not too late to get involved in those things. There are some wonderful opportunities out there in the world of crypto, and it's just getting started. Even though it's been going for a decade on the scale of how long money has been a thing, 10 years is really nothing. So keep that in mind. You're still, in my opinion, getting in on the front end or the early end of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So go to bitcoin.com to learn more about that. And there's also some, for those of you that aren't new to Bitcoin, there's a great news site there at news.bitcoin.com. They'll keep you in the loop with what's going on. Speaking of Bitcoin news, maybe we can talk about it a little bit later, but there is an update on the major Twitter hack that happened yesterday, where accounts like Barack Obama and major companies like Apple Computers, Kanye West, I mean, all kinds of people were tweeting out a scam, a Bitcoin scam yesterday. We talked in detail about that, and I speculated that it was an inside job. And yeah, it turns out it was a inside Twitter admin tool that the hackers managed to take over. And they apparently, well, we can get into it. But that's what we're talking about here, fake things and people scamming. In this case, there's a character online called Oliver Taylor. And he's a student at England's University of Birmingham. Or is he? And we'll talk about that and what's going on with deepfakes these days. But first, Mike is in Denver, Colorado, listening on our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm. Hello, Mike.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you so much for taking my call.
Welcome.
I Thank you so much. I had a couple of questions before I got to my main comment. I was wondering what all stations you guys broadcast on.
Well, we couldn't possibly give you the list of them because there's like 190 of them or so. So if you go to affiliates.freetalklive.com, that is a long list with details of where the transmitters are and what times of the day and what days we're on.
You can get a map of them.
Yeah, there's a map at I think it's linked from affiliates.freetalklive.com right up at the top.
I'll definitely check that out.
But the answer is right now, Mike, it's dozens that are probably airing this show tonight right now. And over the whole week, it's about 194 or so.
Awesome. Yeah, I've just joined your guys' Discord, and me and my friend Freddie Freeman host a show on YouTube and DLive and Twitch. It's called Freedom's Corner. But
cool.
I had a couple of comments tonight about Mixer. So we all know Mixer, the online streaming platform.
I suspect many people didn't know Mixer. So let me.
I don't know Mixer.
I'm sort of into the whole online streaming thing, right? Like I'm broadcasting right now on Twitch and on DLive. I've never actually even been to the Mixer site. I know it exists because I saw it in the news. They had hired away. They made some big news. Microsoft site. So Microsoft decided they want to compete with Amazon, which owns Twitch and YouTube, and Facebook had a gaming site as well, I think. But they had hired away this guy named Ninja, who's some big deal with online video game streaming. They paid him millions of dollars to poach him from the Twitch platform and say, oh, see, Ninja's coming over here because Mixer's better than Twitch, and we gave him a bunch of money. And then, 3 months later, they shut the entire thing down?
Yeah, well, it's going to be shutting down here July 22nd, and that's next week. And, I actually was posting about this, that they gave Ninja, the Fortnite streamer, a $30 million contract.
It was that much?
Stream exclusively, yeah.
Wow.
To stream exclusively on Mixer, to take him off Twitch and go to Mixer.
Now, just hold on for just one moment here.
He single-handedly killed Mixer.
Well, I don't know if he killed Mixer. It probably was dying, and this was like a last-ditch effort on their part to try to breathe some life into their investment. But think about that, guys. $30 million to pay a dude to go play video games on your platform. That's how crazy this whole
here's
esports...
what I want to know about it is that did he get his $30 million up front, or was it...
I bet he got a lot of it up front.
...sectioned payments?
Do you know, Mike?
I think it was a contract. I think it was for the duration of Mixer's tenure, because I don't think... They thought that this was going to revolutionize it. They thought this was going to make it 10 times bigger than Twitch, that it was going to be amazing. And they ended up wasting a lot of money, and, not that many people watch his streams when he's on there. He hasn't streamed in a month. So they're paying him $30 million. You want to talk about entitled?
Wait a minute. He's got to, hold on. He's got to have, they must have remembered to put in the contract, you got to stream X amount of hours at minimum.
Well, he probably didn't get paid, and that's the reason he's not streaming.
They had to have paid him something to come on board, don't you think?
Buddy, who knows how these, this is a kid who plays video games. I don't know if he's got an agent or not. I don't know if anybody negotiated this contract. I don't know.
Good point.
I've talked to a lot of noobs in the radio business that would sign a contract as long as you told them, hey, WABC, baby, $30 million.
A lot of these people do hire managers and that sort of thing once they become a big deal. And this guy was, what was he pulling, Mike, on Twitch as far as, viewers and that sort of thing? He was their number one guy, wasn't he, or close to it?
He was pulling in about 100,000 viewers per stream, and that's just per stream. That's not even weekly unique viewers. That's per stream. And that's the thing in the radio business. They have this thing called unique listeners. That means the differentiation of listeners, not the same person listening, but different. How many different listeners per week? And that's the thing that Ninja was pulling a lot. And,
he had millions of subscribers, right? Multiple millions.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
So, I mean, when this guy flipped his switch and he went on, on the air, I mean, there were tons of people tuning into him. So Microsoft said, all right, we're going to poach him. They gave him a bunch of money and a nice contract, supposedly, and they brought him on board, and then weeks later shut the entire thing down.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. I think he was on there for about 6 months, but...
If it was a contract with Microsoft, he should get paid anyway, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, if he's not performing, he's probably not going to get paid, right?
Well, he probably
Well, it
isn't
was a
performing.
contract. So.
He isn't performing because he wasn't getting paid,
Well,
Ian.
here's another question.
That's the end of the story.
Here's another question. Does he have a non-compete, meaning that now that Microsoft has shut the service down, is he locked into doing nothing for the next 5 years? Of course, why would he do that if he's not getting paid? So there's a lot of interesting kind of questions about that. Mike, I want to say thanks for the call tonight, man. Thanks. Appreciate hearing from you about that. It's kind of an interesting look into the world of this video game streaming phenomenon.
I remember when we talked on air about that first video game that made more money than a movie.
Yeah, that was like more than a decade ago, right?
And now
15 years ago.
Kids are getting paid $30 million.
It's amazing. 855-450 free. I mean, he's not a kid. I think he's probably in his late 20s, but 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
There is no such thing as attention span, according to Jerry Seinfeld, who figures that people have an infinite attention span if you are entertaining them. Hey, he's kept us from channel surfing for several decades, and now he's making more millions as a Las Vegas headliner. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're looking for work. So choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Avoid redundancies such as added bonus, advance warning, end result, prior history, or personal belongings. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live.
You're privileged to drive the road. You must follow the law.
No, I don't have to.
You're gonna double park and you're gonna make a left-hand turn in front of a cop?
Can I respond to you here, Barbara?
Go right ahead.
I'm not going to run a red light in front of a cop because he has a gun and is willing to hurt me, but I've run plenty of...
Wrong. He's not gonna hurt you. He's gonna give you a ticket.
Oh, but if I decide not to pull over, what will he do?
Well, you're not obeying the law.
Barbara, I don't obey arbitrary words written down by strangers. I obey natural law, Barbara. That means if I do something, I expect consequences will come from that, sometimes good, sometimes bad.
You run a red light, somebody comes around and you kill him.
I would never run a red light like that. When I run a red light, I stop first, look around, make sure no one is in danger, and then I go through.
Oh, you are such a phony.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You bring up whatever you want here. Toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450, free. And with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Tyler.
And Mark.
And by the way, congratulations, Mark, on Free Talk Live, getting to number 25 in the Talkers Magazine Heavy 100.
Free Talk Live, top 25 talk shows in the nation, and you could not have done it without me.
Says the guy who went away to Saipan for...
I ran the frickin' show 2 nights a week in Saipan. Thank you very much.
Dedication.
So we're on the first page. This is noteworthy because not only is it the top 25, but the way they do Talkers at talkers.com, if you go and you look at the top 100, the heavy 100, they break it into 4 pages, and so 25 per page. So we are now on, for the first time...
Above the fold, as they say it.
Well, I mean, technically above the fold would be number 1, 2, or 3 as you're looking at the page, but it is certainly the first page. It is the bottom of the first page, Mark. I don't think you can call that above the fold. It's optimistic. Right. I appreciate that, but there we are. So thank you to everybody who listens to the program and who shares Free Talk Live, because we certainly couldn't have done it without you. That is the most important factor. And of course, our Free Talk Live amplifiers who contribute $5 a month to the show, at least $5. Some do more, like Chris Hickman, who is a gold amplifier. Chris contributes $10 a month to the AMP program. Advertise, market, and promote. That's what AMP stands for. It's a way to help us get Free Talk Live onto more radio stations, because certainly I don't think we could have gotten to number 25 if we only had 25 radio stations. You know, I just don't think that we would have gotten there. So
when we had 25 radio stations, we were in the top 250.
Yeah. So having, 200 or close to 200 certainly helps with that, and it's the AMP program that really made that possible. So thank you to everybody who amps the show. Chris Hickman is a gold amplifier, meaning he does $10 a month to the AMP program, so you can join him over at amp.freetalklive.com. If you want us to continue up this chart, then please amp the show.
Right.
amp.freetalklive.com. You can use PayPal, credit card, debit card, and you can use Bitcoin BTC to get signed up. You can get some cool perks too. Let's go. Oh, before we go to continuing with your calls, I did look up this Ninja Mixer situation. Mixer, the Microsoft video game streaming platform that apparently has shut down or is shutting down relatively soon. This guy Ninja, who is was the biggest streamer on Twitch, Microsoft poached him over with a contract. Then Microsoft decided, less than a year later, apparently it was most of a year. I thought it was 3 months, but less than a year later, they decided to shut the entire service down, and so the dude was, the Ninja guy was released from his exclusivity deal, according to the Wikipedia article about it. So
sounds like he was getting paid then.
He is now streaming on YouTube, and that Microsoft experiment is done. We go to...
Why can't the big ones like that replicate the excitement of something like Twitch?
The up-and-coming success? Because Twitch, even though Twitch was purchased by Amazon, I don't think it started with Amazon. I don't know who started it, but it was, probably a startup at some point, and then Amazon
Wasn't it Tom from MySpace?
I feel like all of these social media platforms, it's really hard to get people to move to a new one. Facebook's been a problem for people for years with censorship, but you can't get
a group
of people.
Right.
Exactly. It's,
Right. I mean, it's... They complain, they complain,
right.
They complain.
It's a lot easier to complain than to do something different.
But, it's got the reach.
Change is hard, guys.
Yeah. But it doesn't have the reach. That's the mantra, Mark, that people always say.
They say it is.
Whenever I talk about how I've left Facebook, because I left more than 2 years ago now, and it's been great. I have more free time, more productive time. I can get more stuff done. But usually whenever I talk to somebody about it, they're like, oh, yeah, I hate Facebook, but man, it's got the reach. That's where everybody is. Well, but they're not seeing you. They're not seeing your posts. If you want them to see your posts, you got to give Facebook $20 a post.
Well, that's if you're using a page as opposed to your own personal.
No, it's true of your own personal page, too. They won't show everybody your posts.
maybe not everybody, but I get a lot of action on if I post the same thing, and I did today, our top 25 listing on Talkers Magazine, which I'm very excited about.
You got more comments on your personal one?
Heck yeah, I got far more engagement on my personal.
That's probably true.
Than I did on my on Free Talk Live's.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I shared my personal onto Free Talk Live's page in order to, sort of boost the momentum of all of it. And I know what's going to happen. Facebook isn't going to do anything with that on Free Talk Live's page, but I can tell you, when I tell an advertiser that we've got 85,000 likes on Facebook, suddenly they begin to salivate. I don't know
Even
why.
though it ain't worth a hill of beans.
No, it's not.
You're lucky if you can reach 1%, and not even that in a lot of cases.
Well, it's no secret that Facebook manipulates its algorithms to do little experiments on us, and they'll bump things that are more positive one day or more negative one day or have a certain angle to them. And so, you never know who's actually seen anything you post on there or how far it's reaching.
You can see a little number,
Ian,
but
a good post might get 10%.
That's unusual, though.
It's a good post.
Yeah. Unusual. And it's not because of the quality of the post. It's just it happens to have been shared on the right people's pages. And
sometimes it's the quality of the post. Sometimes it's just this weird thing.
Yeah, but I mean, you can put up great quality posts, but not all of them will get to the same locations. And if you don't get to the right influencers or whatever, then
if there's some magic, I can't figure it out.
No, and you've been at it for years.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to your calls here. Your thoughts, welcome. Whether it's on video game streaming, social media, we got the Deepfake story as well. Larry's in Indianapolis here. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Larry.
Hey, the video game stuff. Just think of the billions of dollars that's generated off this guy Ninja to make people buy equipment and stuff and buy games.
Sure.
And they have parents that have lost all hope in their kids. Oh, he's going to be like Ninja. He's going to make millions of dollars. That's the bait for them to get things. And then they use poor Ninja to learn all his moves and everything he's done and probably made 5 or 6 more games after the stuff he does. And then he's no use to him anymore.
You bring up an interesting point. This is the same process as the old Hollywood star, right? Like, so, when we were growing up, I don't know how old you are, Tyler, but I'm going to guess we're similar age range, when we were growing up, the Hollywood stars were the ones that the kids wanted to be, right? Yeah, you want to be an astronaut, but a lot of kids wanted to be famous.
Like rappers.
Right? Sure, rappers or whoever.
They got them caught around.
Or sports stars, right? Sports heroes, right? So, these are always like unattainable levels of success for most people, but that doesn't stop them from, desiring it and going after it and not reaching, in most cases, the level that, they want to reach. The interesting thing about...
my rap album's coming out next month.
Excellent. The interesting thing about the difference now is that there aren't as many gatekeepers today as there were back then, meaning that somebody like Ninja, who is, he's just a gamer who happened to have, I don't know why he's the #1 stream. I've never watched him, so I don't know if he's
probably got some good genetics for one.
I don't know if he's got great reactions or whatever. I know that was like PewDiePie. He was the top streamer on YouTube. He's got the reactions. And so people want to see somebody who's like, makes big reactions. That's interesting, right?
Well, they take his reaction and use it to program artificial intelligence for whatever purpose they want. Like a lot of schools and stuff, they were advertising, go to a coding boot camp. Well, they use your test and all your input that you do into their course to glean things to make their programs more successful and add to their artificial intelligence. But, I really call in about the schools reopening. There are actually people in our city that are praying that the schools don't open so they can get another COVID check. So it's just turned into a perverted thing. And I did watch a game, Ohio State and Georgia, I think it was. The stadium was crowded. I mean, if you think that people...
Was it a real crowd or was it a computer crowd?
No, it was I'm talking about a former game that they'd already played.
You're talking about in the past. You're talking about before COVID?
Past, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
because from what I understand, they're not having sports games at this point.
If they don't have sports, this just shows you, boys, that this is nothing but a lie. When you get people to go out to have food or at a restaurant, and most people are wearing masks here in Indianapolis because it's mandatory, but you can tell that they don't want to wear them. So when will the lie end?
I don't know. As long as people, it's a great question, Larry. As long as people keep doing what they're told, then there's no reason why this will ever end. it'll just keep getting worse. If people don't want to wear masks, they ought to take them the F off and stop. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. But they have been trained. More coming up.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
Attention radio listeners, have you ever wanted to be independent of the utility companies and actually generate your own supply of off-grid electrical power? If so, this is going to be the most important message you'll ever hear. Here's why. A limited number of solar-powered backup generators are back in stock and now available. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical power when you need it most. And unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly, emits no fumes, and produces an endless supply of free electricity from the sun. It's like having an electric power plant running silently, secretly in your own home. Run sump pumps, shortwave radios, computers, even keep food from spoiling. Go to mysolarbackup.com to learn more. That's mysolarbackup.com. Supplies are still limited and are available on a first-come, first-served basis only. mysolarbackup.com.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You're invited. If you want to join us, you can dial toll free. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom. 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm, so feel free to join us there, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us tonight. That includes me, Ian.
Tyler.
And Mark.
We're going to go back to your phone calls and thoughts. Let's talk to Steve. He's in Arkansas, listening to KFPW there in Fort Smith. Hey, Steve.
Hey, guys. How are y'all today?
Welcome, sir. You're on the air. Good.
Good. I don't know what y'all's ages are. I've talked to Mark before when he was in Saipan. I think he's closer to my age than the other two of you guys. But, I don't know anything about video games. I mean, if it's not like Tecmo Super Bowl, then I'm out. But, but when I was a kid growing up, I remember that like WWF would steal a wrestler from WCW, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to take all their fans." That's what this. I mean, it's the same thing.
Same thing.
Beefing.
They take Dusty Rhodes and turn him into Gold Dust or whatever the hell he was there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
They had to change the name. I mean, the American
There's
Dream.
There's copyrights on some of them.
Really, seriously,
Yeah.
He's the American Dream. You can't take
That's
Dusty
probably
Rhodes'
trademarked.
name.
It's probably trademarked.
God,
Dusty
I
Rhodes,
know,
the
man.
American Dream, trademark.
That was a tragedy when they did that. But anyway, I was really calling about our Republican governor in Arkansas has he's done a pretty good job up until today.
All right.
Today he announced that on Monday Arkansans would be forced to wear face coverings in public.
Jesus.
Unless you are, I guess, like riding your bike or, if you're not around people, you don't have to have it on. But if you go into a public place, whether it's inside or outside, if you're not within, or if you're within 6 feet of people, you have to wear a face covering. And the first time is a warning. The second time is a citation.
How much is the citation?
The details haven't been released yet.
What do they do in Arkansas if you don't pay the fine?
I've never been in trouble with the law, so I couldn't tell you that.
Hold on, wait a minute. You've never had a speeding ticket?
Well, I have, but I went to court and either got out of it or paid it.
Okay.
It was.
See, this is the thing. Most people don't have the answer to the question of what happens if you don't pay the fine. And I know that
Right.
I know that here in New Hampshire, you get to go to jail to sit off the time. So, or you can do community service. So one or the other. You can
Yeah, I think that's what happens here. I mean, my son, who's 18, got a speeding ticket, and he just went and paid his fine, and
That's what they want.
tried to get in some defensive driving course.
Yeah,
and
see, that's what they
told
want
him
you
he
to
didn't
do.
qualify for
They
that.
want you to
Right.
pay them, okay? Because that just encourages them. They know they can get
Right.
money out of you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on the other side of the coin, Ian, not everybody's got time and energy to go
I get
sit
it.
in some jail cell over
I
some
understand.
BS.
I'm not trying to give them a hard time.
I'm just saying, if giving these people $50 to go the F away is a possibility, like that's worth
the problem.
two
It
of
doesn't
my-
go. They don't go away. They come back for more.
No, they don't.
Right,
Yes,
I don't
do.
I don't want to.
Look, hold on.
I don't want to sit in a jail cell for 2 days. I've got golf balls to hit and fish to catch.
Yep.
Indeed.
Yeah, I heard you, man. I heard you.
and
So-
what I'd like to say, Ian, is I don't speed. All right?
Really?
I haven't had
You're a liar.
No, I don't speed. You know why? Because I'm not giving these people any more free money. I've given them plenty, and now I go slow.
I haven't given them a
You know who
dime.
I like to go slower, the speed limit in front of? Cops,
Uh-huh.
because those people love to speed. And
sure.
I just like to get right in front of them and tootle along at the speed limit.
So what you said, Mark, is not true. If you give them the money, they don't go away. They come back because
go
they know
after other people whom I don't care about.
that week they'll go after other people.
Yes,
and if
they
they can
will.
go after you again, they're going to go after you again. And they will. How many people do you know that have had more than one speeding ticket?
All
Okay?
kinds of people that continue to speed.
Right. So it's not true that they just go away. They come back for more. They are a gang. They're a criminal gang. They're bullies. And when you do what the bully wants you to do, give them your lunch
What do you
money.
want me to do? Shoot him in the face?
No, Mark. I didn't say that.
Well, I'm not going to court over it. I'm not going to spend my valuable time day
gotcha.
after day.
I gotcha.
3 different times going to court dealing with these effers.
I don't blame you. I really don't.
I mean,
but if you want to
seriously,
answer, you
what
asked the
is
question.
One of my days worth.
Okay, I get it, man. I get it. I really do. And there is your answer as to why things are the way they are. Okay? You've asked the question
It's
on the
a
air
tax
before.
on your time.
You've asked the question on the air before. Why are the things this way? Why are businesses restricted like this or whatever? It's because businesses allowed it. And it's because people allow it. Because they go along to get along, they do what they're told, and they pay what they're told to pay. And that's why you're not going to see a significant number of people refusing to wear masks, even though they don't want to do it. As Larry pointed out earlier, there's plenty of people out there. You can see them. They put on the masks just to go into the store. and then they take them off as soon as they get out. So it's not like they're wearing them all the time in a lot of cases. They're just going along to get along. And so as long as people go along to get along, they're going to keep getting what they've always gotten, which is more rules, more taxes, more fines, more obedience, more telling you what to do. So you just keep doing what you want, and that's fine. Pay up all the fines, but don't complain when they keep increasing the fines and they keep increasing the things you can get fined on, because you did this.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No,
it's your fault, and it's everybody else's fault who pays these people. I have not paid a dime in fines ever since I've been here in New Hampshire.
Has stuff changed?
There's not enough.
So it doesn't matter when you do it.
You can't blame me. Last time I went in to challenge a parking ticket, they threw it out. And the time before that, they threw it out too.
A lot of this, guys, is the path of least resistance.
That's exactly right.
The government people, they're going to take one of three things from you. They're going to take your money,
or your time,
or your life if you don't give them the other two. So, I mean, I can see both sides. 100%.
Right. It's 100%. And I think I haven't owned a car in a long time, and that's the difficulty.
You drive a car, but you don't own it.
Right. The last time I had a parking ticket, I took it, but I haven't been able to take another one.
And they threw it out last time you challenged
I have an interesting little take on it that I'd like to try the next go around
if they
when
let you.
I can. But when it comes to, like, let's say I get a speeding ticket in northern Massachusetts, like I did some years ago. I think it was like almost 20 years ago now. And I'm not going back down there.
Hey, I don't blame you for that. Okay, you got your territory. And so to answer your question, yeah, things have changed here in Keene, New Hampshire. If one of our guys goes in and challenges a ticket, it gets dropped.
I got the perfect thing. If you don't want a speeding ticket, put a fire helmet in your back seat, because that'll change everything.
You think so?
Yep.
So, Steve, any other comments? Go ahead.
No, I mean, I kind of see both sides of what you're saying. You know, I've always been kind of a rule follower, and so I've never really. I mean, yeah, I've sped a couple times, gotten a few tickets. When I was from the time of 16 to 18, I think I got a ticket in every vehicle my family owned.
Sure.
But I would take defensive driving, and it'd be taken off my record.
Yep.
But I still had to pay that fine. You know, I mean, that was. And I had a dad growing up that, you do the crime, you pay,
that whole mentality.
Pay the fiddler, so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
See, I won't do it. I won't pay them. I'll go to trial every single time, and if they find me guilty, and they usually do, I won't pay them. And I will say, look, I'm willing to go to jail. But then they always then their perspective is, well, we don't really want to show people putting you in jail. So what they'll do is, let me finish my statement here. So what they'll do is, if you're willing to go to jail, then they're like, why don't you take some community service instead? Because what they don't want is they don't want people to, like in the courtroom, for instance, that are just sitting there watching. They don't want them to see them actually put you in jail for a speeding ticket. So that's when they're like, okay, well, we don't really want to put you in jail. How about some community service? Can we meet you in the middle on that? Whereas if you ask for community service, then they're like, well, here's a financial affidavit. You're going to need to fill this financial affidavit out. Tell us what all bank accounts you have. How many houses do you own? How many cars? They want to know everything about you before they'll decide whether they let you do community service. But if you're willing to go to the mat, you're like, give me the jail time. That's when they're like, no. Community service will be fine. And then you don't have to fill out any of the paperwork. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
Sure. And I think that's generally a true statement, what you're saying there. However, in your case, they at some point really got it in for you. And one time you were changing your name from your original name to Ian B. Freeman, which is what basically the name you function under. So it's truth. And you went to their thing, and their government bureaucrat filled out the paperwork in the wrong order, and you were there while that happened, and they came back here. They came back to your house, asked you some questions. You, the person who says never talk to police, and you went out and chit-chatted with them, and they got enough information to charge you with some ridiculous crime. Yeah. They, and like usual,
risk is involved if you're going to go up against the state.
I just want to be clear that in your case, they were hunting you down because I think you've beat them enough times that they're like, yeah, we're going to get this Freeman kid.
They've been after me for years.
Yeah.
Part of this, too, is reframing it back to the idea that we're talking about mask laws. I think that's a big thing, right? What hill are you willing to die on? Is it a traffic ticket? Maybe. But if it's a mask, I mean, that's a whole different thing, especially for a virus that has a 98 0.7% or higher survival rate.
Yeah, but the masks will help you beat the facial recognition software. I think we should should have those as at least a normalized thing in our society.
Masks are anti-human. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Thank you, Steve, for your call. Hour 2's coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,812, silver at $19.73, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,203. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/freekratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, a surprisingly large number of high-profile Twitter accounts, ranging from Barack Obama to Elon Musk and Kanye West, were hacked Wednesday in an apparent Bitcoin scam that fooled online users into handing over at least $130,000. The Mind Unleashed reports the official Twitter accounts of Apple, Uber, and Square's Cash App were hacked in the cryptocurrency scam, as were accounts belonging to billionaires Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Mike Bloomberg, and Elon Musk. Rapper Kanye West, former U.S. President Barack Obama, and Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden also fell prey to the hackers. Each of the Twitter accounts have millions of followers. In various tweets, the accounts posted messages requesting the followers send USD $1,000 in Bitcoin to specific web addresses, after which they would get double the contribution in return. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. Nearly 90 people were arrested and now face felony charges after refusing to disperse in a protest demanding justice for Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old black woman who was shot to death in her home by Louisville police that ended on the lawn of Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. Demonstrators now face 1 to 5 years in prison if convicted on felony charges under Kentucky law. By all accounts, the protest was peaceful, as over 100 community members gathered near Ballard High School in Louisville, Kentucky, and began marching to the conservative attorney general's home, according to a report from WLKY. The Mind Unleashed reports community members were marching to demand that officials charge the 3 Louisville officers who shot Taylor to death in March, while executing a no-knock search warrant at her home. Researchers are decrying collapsing birth rates around the world, which they warn will result in profound social change if governments don't roll out new productive health policies. Spain, Japan, Portugal, and Thailand are among the 23 countries that could see their populations more than half in a jaw-dropping trend. While the global population is expected to peak at around 9.7 billion around 2064, the population will fall to 8.8 by the end of the 21st century. The Mind Unleashed reports that according to a new study by researchers from the University of Washington Institute for Health Metrics and published in a peer-reviewed medical journal, fertility rates are presently in free fall, and the rate is expected to fall even faster in coming decades. Fertility rates, or the average number of children women give birth to, are a key indicator for population stability. When the number falls below an average of 2.1, populations start to shrink. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
After notifying students that there will be no awesome events happening on campus this weekend, Hamilton College Activity Board Coordinator Jessica Wilson from the class of 2015 spoke to Onion reporters about the disappointingly empty days ahead.
On behalf of the entire Campus Activities Board, I would like to truly apologize for failing to live up to the standards expected of us from everyone on campus. And the fact is, we let the school down.
Wilson said that while the board is usually proficient at booking plenty of cool events for all students to participate in, the upcoming weekend will have no interesting lectures, no wrestling match against Amherst, no acoustic coffee house, and no outdoor movie screening of Silver Linings Playbook.
We tried our best to organize a foam party in Dunham Quad for Friday night, but all the foam machines were rented, and we failed. This falls on us. We realize we don't deserve your trust yet, nor do we expect it, but we'll do everything we can to restore your confidence in us, starting with a comedy hypnotist show on Thursday at Minor Theater. Tickets are $5.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live, launching into the second hour of the program. You're invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Whether you want to talk about the mask madness continuing to expand, we had a couple calls about masks just within the last hour. More states mandating masks, which, of course, as one sheriff, I think it was Saginaw County, Michigan sheriff, as he pointed out earlier this week, it's not a law, and they will not be enforcing it because it's not a law.
Right.
The governor's orders are just governor's orders.
The legislature's not in session, and I haven't heard yet of a legislature that, for whatever reason, has passed some kind of... And
it wouldn't surprise me if they did, but at this point, I haven't heard that either.
I don't know how constitutional it even is. I don't know.
Can the government tell you what to wear? Because that's the question here, right?
That's the question.
Yeah.
Now, I would say that in your business, you're allowed to tell customers what they can and can't wear to walk in the door.
No shirt, no shoes, no service.
But can you require a business to do certain things? Like, well, for instance, smoking. Yeah, that appears as though, I don't know that anyone's taken it to the Supreme Court to see whether or not they're allowed to, the government's allowed to outlaw smoking in businesses, but it's an interesting question.
Yeah,
it's either your business or it's not.
Well, it's clearly not, because you've asked permission to get a license from the government, because that's what people have been trained to do.
Yep.
They've been trained to be obedient, and you got to make sure you get all your legal stuff done before you open your doors, or else, men with guns will come in and shut you down. So again, it goes back to the whole obedience to the ticketing thing. It's like, I get it. I understand why people do it. You go and you get a business license because you know that men with guns are going to come in and destroy your business if you don't.
Yeah, you just wanted to serve pizzas or make people dresses or whatever it was you got into business to do.
Right. And every business owner that I've ever talked to, none of them appreciate this process. They don't like the hoop jumping and the arbitrary obedience to these government bureaucrats and the fees and what are essentially bribes, licensing fees that they have to pay to get through this ridiculous arbitrary process that allows these capricious bureaucrats to just completely rule over your life.
Well, I did talk to a dental hygienist one time who was very proud of her licensure to be a dental hygienist. And I was just sort of, I don't know exactly how it came up. Consider that this conversation's several years old, but I sort of scoffed at the idea of licensing generally, and maybe for dental hygienists specifically. I don't know. And she said, well, yeah, but people can die in our line of work. And I have never heard of anybody dying from getting a tooth cleaning, but I'll take her word for it. She's the expert. I'm not. And then I'm like, but brake technicians don't need, I think I'd use this
like
as
automobile brakes.
Automobile brake technicians don't need a licensure from the government. And people definitely die without brakes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and a license, it's not a certification. It's not like a diploma. It's like, oh, look what I can do. A license is just asking for permission.
Well, in some cases, they do require 1,000 hours of training on, hair braiding or whatever it is. But it is still totally arbitrary. It's not like an actual market demanded thing.
In some states, it requires, there's more time required to be a barber than there is to be a cop with a gun.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's all arbitrary. I remember hearing years ago that here in New Hampshire, they didn't have a beautician's license or cosmetology license until the woman that owned the one cosmetology school got elected, and she literally created the licensing process. And of course, that funnels more business into her school.
Right, and a lot of these businesses like the licensing. It's a barrier to entry.
They do. They like it after the fact, but I don't think they like it while they're going through it. At least a lot of them don't. Let's go to your calls, your thoughts here. We can also talk more about deep fakes. They're now deep faking fake people who, they're not trying to pretend to be Hollywood celebrities or anything like that. We'll get into your calls here. Chris is actually on the line in Maine, and you're on Free Talk Live watching us on Twitch.
How are you guys doing today?
Hey, good. What's on your mind?
Actually, this is a question for Tyler. As a Navy corpsman,
hello?
That's upcoming in the United States, for everybody to stay safe and stay alive.
There was a huge dropout in your audio. We heard you say, as a Navy corpsman, and then lost most of the rest of it. Can you say that again, please?
So, as a Navy corpsman, what would you suggest for the average civilian as a loadout for the upcoming Burrito Bandito Bonanza to help us stay alive?
Okay, Chris, thanks for the call, man.
Thanks for the question, Chris.
A loadout for the Bonanza.
That's a long and detailed
conversation. Is he referring to the Boogaloo?
He might be. The Maritime Marmalade, the Big Fiesta Showdown, whatever you want to call it. Potential societal collapse. Like I said, I really appreciate the question, but I could spend half an hour talking about what you need to put in your IFAC or individual first aid kit.
How about some amoxicillin?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, let's just start with tourniquets. First off, the most important thing, you got to have a tourniquet. You got to have a few tourniquets if you're doing it right.
If you get a sheet, you got tourniquets.
Compression bandages are good. Bacitracin. If you can get a suture kit, that's even better.
Or just dental floss and a big needle.
Right, yeah.
Shouldn't you have some sort of training on how to use this stuff? Like, is there like a basic first aid class these people should take?
You know who the most qualified first aid person is?
The person who's there? I got what you're saying, but if you've never sewn somebody up before, maybe you don't know what you're doing.
I've never sewn anybody up until I used dental floss and a bent needle to do it.
Well, I'm trying to put a class together actually this fall for liberty-minded people who want to learn about what I learned, tactical combat casualty care, and and basic first aid and first responder stuff. So I would tell Chris to come to my class whenever I get that set up.
Are you going to video record the class and then you can put it online?
I might, yeah.
That way other people can see it who weren't there.
Right, yeah. I'll consider it, definitely.
And I suspect that there are a myriad of websites who have a whole load of suggestions in this particular area, but he wanted your advice, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of websites. You can just serve top 10, top 20, top 50 things that you need for the bug out Boogaloo, or in your bug out bag and these kind of things. I carry a first aid kit in my car. I carry a fire extinguisher in my car. I carry a blanket in my car because you never know. And those seem like things that you could use.
Let's go to Kirby. He's in Indiana watching on YouTube. Go ahead, Kirby.
Hey, man, I wasn't going to call you guys today, but it occurred to me as I was leaving the bank this morning where I got stopped and asked a bunch of invasive questions about my health. But walking down the street wearing a mask, somebody just robbed a bank, your general building description, but they were wearing a mask. You're liable to get murdered by the police because you wore a mask.
Right, and because the rules are now you have to wear a mask into a bank. And I wonder about states where, open carrying is legal. Now, I mean, are we talking about people open carrying a gun and wearing a mask into a bank?
It's dangerous. I carry a gun every day. I refuse to wear a mask when I walk into a store or a bank. Now, if they say, hey, put one on, I just tell them I'll spend my money elsewhere. Because believe it or not, a lot of these retailers are like, okay, just spend your money because we don't really care.
Right, and in a lot of states, at least one state, I've seen a meme anyway where they're saying it's illegal in this state to to carry a gun and wear a mask. And well, if you're carrying a gun and you wear a mask, obviously, most of the time, nobody's going to know, but you can very well say, hey, it's against the law in this state to carry a gun and wear a mask.
Kirby, have you gone into any of the retailers or attempted to go into any of the retailers who are now putting into or have put into place the supposed mandatory masks? So, like Walmart is expected within the next few days, I think the 20th is their deadline on this, to implement a mandatory mask policy. They're obviously going to probably bend on people who claim they've got a medical exemption and maybe a religious exemption. We're going to test that one out here, I think, in Keene. Aria and I are planning on going to see what happens. But have you had an experience with a retailer who supposedly has a mandatory mask policy as opposed to those that are saying, please put on a mask?
Yeah, actually, I tried to go get a bottle of 12-year-old scotch today and walked in the liquor store, and the dude was like, hey, you got to put on a mask. And I actually have a medical exemption. Showed him the paperwork. He goes, I don't care. I'm like, well, I'll spend my money somewhere else.
Good on you, Kirby. I really appreciate hearing from you as always. Thank you for the story tonight. And that's what it's going to take in a lot of these cases is for those of us
turn around and walk out sometimes
in the market to turn around and walk out. We did that at the movie theater here. I think it was yesterday. More coming up. 8:55, 450 free.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org. News from news.bitcoin.com. Another 83 tons in fake gold found in China. Crypto still much harder to counterfeit. Host Stefan Molyneux banned from YouTube. Receives $100,000 in crypto donations afterward. Reporters uncover $11 trillion in offshore government-sanctioned bank accounts. Bitcoin Cash still potentially private and unconfiscatable. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies. Getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
I have 2 dogs, Sam and Bailey. Both are golden retrievers. Poor Sam, he was a mess. Always itching. His paws were soaking wet all day from just constant licking. He had bald spots on his back. I just don't like putting shots and steroids into your dog all the time. DINOVITE.com. Dinovite is nutrition. Probably 2 weeks after he started Dinovite, I started seeing great improvements. And today, 99% of his issues are non-existent. It's amazing stuff. Since Bailey has been 12 weeks old, he's been a Dinovite dog. And he has 0 issues today. He won't eat his food without Dinovite. When I get out the Dinovite, my dogs actually salivate, like I'm getting them a treat. They drool over it. Dinovite is the best thing you can do for your dog.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite from DINOVITE.com.
And they're like, you're supposed to have a mask on, but it's okay because it's your first time.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll-free and bring up whatever you'd like. The number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. In the studio tonight, it's Ian.
I'm Tyler.
And Mark.
And the Next Generation Wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to spend, earn, store, and exchange digital money in seconds. Divvy says you'll be able to send money around the globe in only a swipe and instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat currencies like the dollar in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. There's no need to wait, though, as Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with their multi-tiered masternodes, allowing anyone to earn by supporting the Divvy network. When the new Divvy wallet launches, because of their relationship with Western Union, they'll be in 200 countries, including the United States. You can learn more at divvyproject.org, diviproject.org, and just within the last 2 weeks, within the last week, I think. Yeah, within the last week, the price of Divvy has gone up yet again. It was like at around 5 cents per, or just below 5 cents per.
And it was at like 1 cent, less than 1 cent when we started.
Like a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now, and then last, I think it was 3 days ago, it jumped up over the course of about a day to almost 8 cents. It's now down to about 6 and change. So it's gone up quite a bit over just the last year. Now, obviously, that's no guarantee that's going to continue in the future, but it's worked out pretty well for those who picked up some divvy last year.
Like Free Talk Live and the people who decided to move forward.
So far, it's worked out. Of course, it doesn't actually, you haven't made anything until you sell it. But then again, the question is, should you sell or should you hold on or should you sell some of it?
Wait till it goes to 25 cents.
Then you'll feel sorry if you sold it at 8, right? So who knows? But interesting developments in the world of Divvy, so check that out. DivvyProject.org. As we go back to your phone calls and thoughts, Dan is in California. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Dan.
Mark, Ian, how are you gentlemen doing? And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. The gentleman in the flowered shirt, the Navy guy, I forgot your name.
Tyler is with us here.
Tyler. Hi, Tyler. Nice to meet you as well.
Nice to meet you.
Go ahead, Dan.
So I just wanted to say, when it comes to the mask, 99% of the time I agree with you guys, but here's the thing. I agree with you. Masks should not be a law. Shouldn't be a law because, of course, laws are always, and I'm sorry, I'm coming from this from a black perspective, laws are always enforced in our community heavily, most heavily than anywhere else. So I don't want cops breaking into my neighborhood, busting down doors. We saw you at the store yesterday. You weren't wearing a mask, So, no, I don't want it to be a law because it's just one more tool used against us.
Sure.
But by the same token, I have elderly parents. And people say, well, all lives matter. Well, if all lives matter, prove it to me. Don't do it for you. Do it for my parents. They're old and slowing the spread because they are the most vulnerable. They are the black people and older black people are the most vulnerable people in this corona pandemic. So don't do it for you. Do it for me because my parents can go. But I'll let you respond to that. I want to get one shout out to Ariel from last night. I love her. I got to give her a shout out before I get off.
Aria, yeah. Well, don't go away yet. I mean, I'd like to say this.
First off, I don't disagree at all. My mom's 79. She's at home, and I wear masks in stores.
I would not go. If my parents wanted me to wear a mask, I would tell them no, that I was not going to do that. And further, Dan, I don't plan to encounter your parents, so I don't think that they're at risk from me.
I think.
Well, there's a problem with that is that you may not interact with my parents. That's true, but you may go to the store and interact with someone or interact with someone on the street who has a job where my parents go to shop, and then you didn't give it to them directly. No, sir. But you gave it to someone who gave it to someone who gave it to someone.
If your parents are worried about that, they should stay home.
Well, Dan, are your parents wearing a mask? You're wearing a mask. And if your mask works, then other people's masks should be irrelevant. Let's think about all the people that lost all their businesses, people who've committed suicide since the economic fallout from this whole thing. There's other people that are victims now, too, because we're trying to enforce these authoritarian laws on each other. What about the people that are getting respiratory infections from wearing a mask too much?
Right. But isn't that counterintuitive to your argument? Looking at other countries, how did they get to be back to a place where they're opening? They wore the mask. They contact tested. We aren't doing those kind of things, but we want to open back up. Well, we could open back up if we do the right thing. And I understand, again, I want this to be voluntarily. I want you to want to do it. I don't want to force you. I'm not trying to do that. I'm asking you as a human, from human to human, to do it.
See, that's the thing. I think it's inhumane to wear a mask. I think it's taking away from our humanity by disconnecting humans from humans by not allowing them to see the expressions on other humans' faces.
See, I like that part. I think that's a feature. When I go into a grocery store, I'm not looking to interact with these people.
Well, you're antisocial.
Yes.
Right.
Have you met people?
We're old and we're not antisocial. Once you get to be of a certain age, you're tired of people.
How old are you? How old are you, Dan?
50.
Okay.
I'm 50, and I don't. In my 20s, I was into the social interaction, but this lockdown, as much as I want it to be over, I'm kind of enjoying working from home because there's less people I have to interact with, and I can't lie.
You like it. You like it. It's fine, man.
Yeah.
Hold on. You're 50 years old. I've seen your picture on Facebook. You and I know each other. And this is, talk about black privilege. My God, I thought you were 29.
Yeah, lots of pot. I'm about to smoke one right now. I can say that's part of it. Lots of running. walking and that kind of stuff. But pot, I'd say yeah.
I
Smoke a lot of pot.
just don't, Dan. I just don't buy the fear out there. I don't buy into it. Now, Tyler, you were telling me off the air. I don't think you mentioned this on the air, but early on, you were wearing the masks. You took some extra precautions.
Definitely, I was one of the first people to wear a mask.
Can you talk about your path and
Yeah, well, I saw this coming back in January. Me and my roommate, we did a lot. We went out and we got supplies. We wore goggles, we wore gloves, we wore masks. But as the data started to change and we started to see the outcome of things, like I might have said earlier, 98.7, probably more survival rate for this virus. Like, we weren't wearing a mask for the flu. We weren't wearing a mask for bird flu or swine flu or anything else that happened. I don't know why we have to jump to such extremes now, to the point that we have to make it mandatory.
To me, and look again,
and he wasn't advocating.
I'd like to make that clear. I do not look. You don't own your business if you can't tell people what they can or can't wear at the door. But I will say this is, why wouldn't we want people wearing masks when they have the flu? And, why wouldn't we want them? I don't know what the incubation period is for the flu. I don't know what the incubation period is for the normal coronavirus that causes a cold.
Here's why I don't want it. Because I don't want to have people living in a state of fear. And I think having all the masks
around
in
Hong Kong and Japan and Tokyo are not living in a state of fear. It's just normalized behavior.
Yeah.
When you're symptomatic.
Thank you, Dan.
It's a good idea.
Enjoy the bong rips, man. I appreciate hearing from you here tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So, and you're somebody with medical training. You were in the military, and you did that kind of stuff, and you don't feel like this is necessary.
No, I don't think so at all.
Well, you can find a doctor saying just about anything out there right now. I mean, the funny thing is... Yeah,
that's right. Except there's certain doctors who the government employs who say things, and then everybody hops to and does whatever they're told. 855-450-FREE. If you want to, avoid people, you can do it. Have someone deliver your food to your house. Don't leave it.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
How many lawyers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They'd rather keep their clients in the dark. There are too many lawyer jokes to count. However, there are some lawyers with more noble intentions. At the Institute for Justice, we bring the light to our clients. We are a non-profit public interest law firm with clear values and principles. At IJ, we fight for those whose most basic rights are denied by the government. Visit our website today at ij.org.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free, bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. Also, the Discord call-in line rooms. We're going to go to that here shortly. Discord.lrn.fm. You can go there, join the conversation where people are chatting around the clock, basically. I mean, there's people in there almost all the time, 24/7, and it's free, so head on over there and connect with other Free Talk Live listeners at discord.lrn.fm. Plus, when it's showtime, as it is now, you can call in on the call-in line rooms that we have there, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. My name's Ian.
I'm Tyler.
And Mark.
And we go to Gene, the Christian anarchist. He's on our AMP call-in line room there on Discord. Go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, a long time ago, I used to play a game on the computer.
Okay.
It's called Lemmings.
Yeah, okay.
I remember that. I don't remember anything about it, but I remember it.
The little guys jumped off a cliff or something, and I think you had to stop them from jumping off the cliff. Was that the game?
Right. I mean, they were just mindless automatons that roamed around on the screen, bumped into each other, and just basically didn't have any brains. I don't think that game is around anymore, but now I feel like I'm...
Oh, it still exists.
They must have remade that one.
Well, I'm sure you can find an old version to run on an old system, but currently I feel like I'm living in the game. I don't have to play the game anymore because I'm living the game. And I'm sick and tired of people like your previous caller that was talking about the masks. And I understand what they're talking about, but Ben Swan just put out an excellent video on YouTube about why face masks don't work. And this is according to this is according to science. It came out yesterday. But and if you watch his video, he goes back through and explains how all these studies in the past show that even an N95 respirator mask does not effectively prevent or even slow down, or there's really no measurable difference in virus transmission using a N95 mask or not.
How does it not? Okay, look, I'm a critic, right, of masks, but I mean, how does it not slow it down? It's literally a thing in front of your mouth. That must slow something down, right?
I think the idea is it catches the particulate saliva or whatever you're spitting out, and that's the real issue.
Part of the problem, I think, comes from people touching the mask so much, right? You put a mask on, but now you're constantly shifting it around your face. What you touch is more important than necessarily where you're breathing.
Well, all I can say is there are many different variables involved in transmission of virus. And the studies show, and these studies are very in-depth studies. They show healthcare workers using these kind of masks in an environment, and they categorize the ones who got sick, the ones who didn't get sick, and it basically, and we're not talking about one study, we're talking about 10, 15 studies done in the past 10, 20 years, and they all showed the exact same thing, that the masks do not prevent the spread of virus. Now, why that is, there's no conclusion as to why it doesn't work, but the facts are it does not work. And then if you try and use a surgical mask or a cloth mask, the science even shows that they're not only not effective. In the case of the cloth mask, they actually can make you sick. So
because you're breathing into the thing constantly and it's getting grody, and people aren't washing it constantly, right?
Yes, and all of the masks increase your CO2 retention.
That's not
and
good.
decrease your oxygen inhalation. So the masks,
and amazingly,
don't work.
I see people on bicycles with these things. I mean, it's like, you got to be kidding.
Yes. I mean, it's just the insanity. That's why I think I'm living in the Lemmings game.
Yeah.
Because these people just follow those rules.
They do what they're told.
Yeah. Here's the part that I don't understand about masks. So again, I'm of the opinion that
you like them.
I like them, and I like them for lots of reasons, but only indoors. Like, I don't understand. If you're supposed to be social...
Wait a minute. I thought you were worried about the cameras, the facial recognition cameras. Do you think those aren't outdoors?
If I have the option of wearing a mask and it's normalized, I think that's a good thing. What I'm telling you is that in December of last year, if I'd have been walking around with a mask, I would have been considered very odd. Today, walking around with a mask is normalized, and I think it will be forever in America, and I think that's a victory. And I'm willing to say that. However, what I'm saying is that a mask is supposed to...
This is not a victory, but I see why you're saying that.
Right. A mask is supposed to be something that you wear indoors if you can't social distance. Now, I don't recommend... If the idea is that it's just the amount of viruses
The Texas
in the
Department
air,
of Health is saying you should wear it indoors, period. Around your own family, in your own home.
Sounds pretty ridiculous.
I bet you people are doing it.
Yeah, I'm sure some people are. People are doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, why don't we ramp it up, too?
Ramp it up how?
Yeah, well, just why aren't people wearing gas masks? Why aren't we forcing people to go buy filters that actually do
take it
filter
seriously?
Yeah, let's take it really serious.
Because they don't have enough of them.
Right.
Well, they'll make more. If people start buying gas masks,
people are buying gas masks. I bet you can't get a gas mask right now. There's lots of things you can't get.
Maybe so.
And try getting some workout equipment.
Aria just got one of those old plague doctor masks.
Yeah, it's hilarious, but of course it doesn't do anything. It's just a social statement.
Wait, wouldn't that be just as effective as these other masks people are wearing? It covers your mouth.
I would imagine that it doesn't filter anything.
It's a piece of cloth that's over your mouth, isn't that?
I thought it was plastic.
Or whatever the hell it is. If it's plastic, it's filtering more than cloth, because then it's stopping it entirely.
Through plastic.
Is it much worse than a bandana?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think bandanas
And also,
do that much.
there's new analysis now of the way Sweden compares to the rest of the world.
It's doing pretty good.
Sweden did not do the lockdowns. Most of the people didn't wear the masks.
They did do some restrictions, though, on business, so it wasn't like Belarus that didn't do anything.
Yeah, it was like 50 or something. They recommended groups.
The number of 50
no larger
people, yeah.
But I don't think anybody paid any attention to it. I don't know. I didn't live there. But the point is, their death rate is far below New York City, far below some of the other, like Miami. It was on par with neighboring countries near Sweden. So the whole idea that we had to go through all this crap and destroy our economy is definitely false.
Yep.
So they've got another agenda coming up behind this, and people are just going to lay down and take it. I don't know if it's, the shots or whatever is their new thing, giving up your guns. Obviously, if people are going to be dumb enough to wear a mask without any science behind it just because they're told to, people are going to be dumb enough to give up their guns. It's proven right here. This is the proof that the American people have no nerve left. They don't have any guts at all.
By the way, let's compare. I think it's more interesting to compare Belarus than it is to look at Sweden, because Belarus basically did absolutely nothing. At least that was as far as the government mandates are concerned. Now, individuals and businesses could make decisions for themselves in the case of Belarus, but the president of the country was actively encouraging people to go out and drink vodka and go to hockey games and just like continue living life. And when you look at their numbers compared to, say, our very own New Hampshire, where in New Hampshire apparently there's 394 deaths so far, according to Google's charts, and in Belarus...
Total.
Yes, total so far from this COVID thing. And then in Belarus, you've got 485 with 10 times the population, by the way, or 9 or 10 times, 8 to 10 times the population in Belarus. And so quite a few more people. There's a lot more confirmed cases there, interestingly. 65,000 plus confirmed cases in Belarus compared to about 6,000 in New Hampshire, which means that there are way more deaths per confirmed case in New Hampshire than there are in Belarus. So there's almost 10 times as many confirmed cases in Belarus.
Yeah, but Belarus isn't right next door to New York, where they had a huge outbreak.
Okay, but Belarus had 10 times as many cases, confirmed cases, with
I wonder
just
what their
about as many
population
deaths.
of elderly is compared to New Hampshire. That's another question.
Good question. But interesting nonetheless, because they did absolutely nothing, right? And they're not particularly remarkable in any way, shape, or form compared to the rest of the world. Thank you, Gene, for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you there. And by the way, Gene works as a manager at a doctor's office there in Tennessee. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free line. That's 855-450-3733. By the way, Lemmings apparently remade several times. Most recent version, Lemmings Touch for the PlayStation Vita in 2014.
Today, many of us are paying attention to our health, and what we eat plays an important role. But so often the water we drink is a mere afterthought when it should be a primary part of our daily nutrition. Real Water would like to change how you think about the water you drink and how it can play an important role in helping your body restore balance and reach its full potential. The key benefits of every bottle of Real Water are stabilized negative ions, balanced pH, detoxification, and it hydrates you like never before. And yes, it tastes great. Real Water is beyond alkalinity, and due to its proprietary process called E2 technology, it's the only drinking water on the market that can maintain a stable negative ionization, which means real science in every bottle. Order your Real Water today and take advantage of special pricing for this audience only by calling 1-855-REAL-WTR or visiting buyrealwaternow.com. That's 1-855-REAL-WTR or buyrealwaternow.com. Order now, 1-855-REAL-WTR or buyrealwaternow.com.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now, 1-800-900-8407. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now, 1-800-900-8407. That's 1-800-900-8407. 1-800-900-8407.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You may take control of the airwaves here, and I apologize. I got the fact wrong. There was a more recent version of Lemmings, apparently a mobile version of it, released in 2018. So a game that literally came out in 1991 is still being remade and repackaged and resold. So it must have been a winner.
Yeah, Pac-Man doesn't have that kind of staying power.
$8.55, $4.50 free. I think Pac-Man was like 1980. And
right.
I'm pretty sure they keep redoing Pac-Man.
What
right?
are you going to do with Pac-Man right now?
You
boring.
repackage it and you put it on every system that ever has existed, basically.
Yeah, but nobody plays it.
You'd be surprised.
They're going to have to make like a non-gender based Pac-Man now, because there's Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man. Yeah,
that's true. What would the
Miss Pac-Man was just a better game, and that's not intended to be a sexist statement. It was just a better game.
Wait till Pac-Person comes out.
That's what I heard. That it actually was pretty good.
I'm very excited to see G.
G?
G.
G what?
This is a non-gendered pronoun, Ian.
Oh, is that the ZE thing?
Yeah, well,
is that how you
they
pronounce
have several of them. Z or
okay.
G.
Is JE is G?
I don't know how to spell it.
Okay.
My pronouns are His Majesty and Your Majesty. So you can just go ahead and get those right.
So we go on here, or go on back, I think, at this point. We've had a lot of talk about masks. A lot of people want to comment because this is literally in your face. They are shoving it down your throat. A lot of states, a lot of businesses now mandating masks. I've got a whole list of them. We can go through it here if you want. But at the beginning of the show, to go back to where we started, because we barely even touched on this topic, deepfakes are back. And, they probably have never left. But in this case, the story from Reuters is about a fake person, or what is allegedly a fake person. His name, Oliver Taylor. He supposedly went to the University of Birmingham, and they describe him as brown eyes, light stubble, slightly stiff smile. You can see his photo. We'll post the article here for you, so you can check it out on our social media. You can go to twitter.freetalklive.com, or you can follow us on Mastodon over at toot.freetalklive.com, which is like a decentralized alternative to Twitter. And then there's also our Telegram channel at telegram.freetalklive.com. So I'll put that up there so you can see this photo. But, I mean, looks like a dude. Right, looks like a young guy in his 20s. I wouldn't have thought this is a fake person. Looking at the smiling man's photograph here, he's described as a coffee lover and a politics junkie who was raised in a Jewish home. But yet his freelance editorials and blog posts, and there's about a half a dozen of those, reveal an active interest in anti-Semitism and Jewish affairs, with bylines in the Jerusalem Post and the Times of Israel. The catch? Oliver Taylor seems to be an elaborate fiction. His university says they have no record of him. He has no obvious online footprint beyond an account on the question and answer site Quora, where he was active for 2 days in March. 2 newspapers that published his work say they've tried and failed to confirm his identity, but they published his work. And experts in deceptive imagery used state-of-the-art forensic analysis programs to determine that his profile photo is a hyper-realistic forgery, a deepfake. Who's behind Taylor isn't known to Reuters. Calls to the UK phone number he supplied to the editors drew an automated error message, and he didn't respond to messages left at the Gmail address that he used for correspondence. Reuters was alerted to Taylor by London academic Mazen Masri, who drew international attention in late 2018 when he helped launch an Israeli lawsuit against the surveillance company NSO on behalf of an alleged Mexican victim of the company's phone hacking technology. In an article of the U.S. Jewish newspaper, the Allgemeiner, Taylor had accused Masri and his wife, Palestinian rights campaigner Rivka Barnard, of being, quote, known terrorist sympathizers, unquote. Masri and Barnard were taken aback by the allegation, which they deny, but they were also baffled as to why a university student would single them out. Masri said he pulled up Taylor's profile photo. He couldn't put his finger on it, he said, but something about the young man's face, quote, seemed off, unquote. 6 experts interviewed by Reuters say the image has the characteristics of a deepfake. Quote, the distortion and inconsistencies in the background are telltale signs of a synthesized image, as are a few glitches around his neck and collar, said digital image forensics pioneer Henry Farid, who teaches at the University of California, Berkeley. Artist Mario Klingemann, who regularly uses deepfakes in his work, said the photo, quote, has all the hallmarks. I'm 100% sure, he said. The Taylor persona is a rare in the wild example of a phenomenon that has emerged as a key anxiety in the digital age, the marriage of deepfakes and disinformation. The threat is drawing increasing concern in Washington and Silicon Valley. Last year, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff warned computer-generated video, quote, could turn a world leader into a ventriloquist dummy, unquote. Last month, Facebook announced the conclusion of its deepfake detection challenge, a competition intended to help researchers automatically identify falsified footage. Last week, online publication The Daily Beast revealed a network of deepfake journalists, part of a larger group of bogus personas seeding propaganda online. Deepfakes like Taylor are dangerous because they can help build, quote, a totally untraceable identity, unquote, said Dan Brahmi, whose Israel-based startup Ciabra specializes in detecting these images.
Do you remember we were at the Liberty Forum years ago, and a couple of guys came promoting their new YouTube channel called Prax Girl?
I remember that vaguely, yeah. She's kind of like this hot libertarian chick.
Yeah.
Talking about smart stuff.
But she wasn't there.
She wasn't. Oh, at the event.
Right, just these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know that you were there at the time, but you know, the libations start getting slung around in the evening and whatever. And if I recall correctly, basically what they told me was something to the effect of, yeah, I mean, you know, we've got a talking head and we write this stuff.
So she delivers a script.
What they're saying is that they're good libertarians, and they've hired somebody who looks good on a YouTube video that they think will get views. And I think they're right.
They're right.
That they got lots of views. And this is what I'm wondering with this deep fake thing. I mean, you know, besides the fact that somebody's got a talking head for some, you know, whatever their ideas are that maybe people won't like, is this just going to hack the whole human condition?
What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is that we as a species, the real we here, we as a species will accept certain things delivered by certain people much more readily than those things delivered by other people, whomever they might be. So now you've got a ready-made talking head for every human being around. And all they have to do is massage the message, so it doesn't sound like they're doing exactly the same thing. You remember the gravitas bit that Rush Limbaugh did? And it's glorious, by the way. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look up Rush Limbaugh and gravitas on YouTube. But you know, you don't want to get caught up into the same talking points or whatever. But once you have this kind of thing where the right branding with the right talking head, you know, whatever the message is, that's it. We're hacked as a species.
When you say hacked, though, what do you get?
I mean that people who are already soft in the head and barely understand their opinions, that barely even know what they're talking about. And I'm talking to you, Republicans, and I'm talking to you, Democrats. You people who will believe anything that's told to you by the particular team, whether they're red or blue, that's told that tells you. You think one thing's right one year, and then a few years later, the exact same thing happens, and you think it's wrong.
Here's a good example of that, where they've gone into public places where people were milling about back when you could actually like stop and talk to people, and they would say, well, here's what Barack Obama said, and then they say a thing that actually
was the opposite.
Mitt Romney said or whatever, so some Republican guy said, and then they get the Democrats to be like, yeah, that's right, Barack Obama, yeah, and then turns out it wasn't Barack Obama who said. That's all they have to do is just, that's a really kind of a rudimentary hack. Now you're saying they can literally they can actually have Barack Obama say those things.
Now
when he
Barack
didn't say
Obama
it.
can say whatever you want. I posted in a Quaker group Barack Obama saying the nation state, what separates the nation state from any other organization is the monopoly on violence, right?
There's a video of him saying that a decade ago.
He literally says that.
Yep.
Now, that may not be exactly the quote, but it's close.
That's about it. Yep.
And the Quakers just came unglued. Like, how in the world could this Democrat that we support the Democrats, possibly say that the nation state is a monopoly on violence? We hate violence, right? Like, how these are.
Here's how you weren't paying attention.
For those that don't know, Quakers are against violence. For those that don't know, Quakers don't know F all about violence or politics.
Right? They don't understand.
They're just like everybody else. They like their particular political group, and they don't understand that every single government policy is enforced ultimately by a man with a gun.
Yep.
Well, how long is it going to be until we can't predict any election or any outcome of any event just because, if everyone can have a sock account for their personhood, you've got one of the reasons Trump got elected was so many people who openly say, I didn't vote for Trump, will secretly vote for Trump.
Did.
Right. Yeah. A bunch of white guys who didn't think they'd get any love from their wife afterwards said, oh, no, honey, I would never disrespect
How do you know
that.
It was white guys? How do you know it was what's on other people that voted for Trump?
I don't know, but I'm guessing.
There's been if you look at his attendance on his Trump gatherings, there's a large cross-section of different colored people and different interests.
I think that it's just my guess.
Kind of interesting. There's more coming up here about deepfakes and how this is going to have a major impact, I think, over time on the public discourse. This is Free Talk Live. Hour 3's next.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,812, silver at $19.73, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,203. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals. high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, a surprisingly large number of high-profile Twitter accounts, ranging from Barack Obama to Elon Musk and Kanye West, were hacked Wednesday in an apparent Bitcoin scam that fooled online users into handing over at least $130,000. The Mind Unleashed reports the official Twitter accounts of Apple, Uber, and Square's Cash App were hacked in the cryptocurrency scam, as were accounts belonging to billionaires Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Mike Bloomberg, and Elon Musk. Rapper Kanye West, former U.S. President Barack Obama, and Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden also fell prey to the hackers. Each of the Twitter accounts have millions of followers. In various tweets, the accounts posted messages requesting the followers send USD $1,000 in Bitcoin to specific web addresses, after which they would get double the contribution in return. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. Nearly 90 people were arrested and now face felony charges after refusing to disperse in a protest demanding justice for Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old black woman who was shot to death in her home by Louisville police that ended on the lawn of Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. Demonstrators now face 1 to 5 years in prison if convicted on felony charges under Kentucky law. By all accounts, the protest was peaceful, as over 100 community members gathered near Ballard High School in Louisville, Kentucky, and began marching to the conservative attorney general's home, according to a report from WLKY. The Mind Unleashed reports community members were marching to demand that officials charge the 3 Louisville officers who shot Taylor to death in March, while executing a no-knock search warrant at her home. Researchers are decrying collapsing birth rates around the world, which they warn will result in profound social change if governments don't roll out new productive health policies. Spain, Japan, Portugal, and Thailand are among the 23 countries that could see their populations more than half in a jaw-dropping trend. While the global population is expected to peak at around 9.7 billion around 2064, the population will fall to 8.8 by the end of the 21st century. The Mind Unleashed reports that according to a new study by researchers from the University of Washington Institute for Health Metrics and published in a peer-reviewed medical journal, fertility rates are presently in free fall, and the rate is expected to fall even faster in coming decades. Fertility rates, or the average number of children women give birth to, are a key indicator for population stability. When the number falls below an average of 2.1, populations start to shrink. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Video game players love customizing every aspect of their character. One game, Elder Scrolls Online, has set a new bar for character creation by letting players design every organ and cell in their avatar's body.
In Elder Scrolls Online, you get to play as whoever you want to play. You are in control of everything from your character's face to their hair to their arteries. We're not just going to give you some pre-made bones and ligaments. You get to create the musculoskeletal system that's right for you. You can even alter the DNA.
Are all of these changes just cosmetic cosmetic?
No, not at all. They have a huge effect on game playing. If your character's body has any anatomical flaws, they could die immediately.
Beta testers say that designing every aspect of their character is a compelling experience.
I've been designing my orc's liver for 5 hours now. This is awesome.
Designing the hands is the hardest part. I keep having to look up how all the joints connect.
Players can also press the randomize button to get a completely random collection of body parts.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, kicking off the third hour of the program. We're talking about the latest news on deepfakes. This time, it's not about swapping celebrity faces in movie clips, which is impressive and really interesting and fun to watch. If you haven't seen those deepfakes, you can, I'm sure you can look at YouTube and search for deepfakes and find some of the best ones out there. They're really persuasive, using technology to put somebody else's face on another person's face and have it animate their mouth in a way that looks convincing, having them say the things that they didn't actually say. So it's really an interesting technology, but it's got a kind of a dark side to it, and the idea there is that, well, this can be used to fool people into believing that a person said a thing they didn't actually say. Or in this particular case, as Reuters is explaining to us, to create a person from nothing that never existed before to sort of be the vehicle for maybe some hateful beliefs or some libel or whatever it is that you want this fake person to say online. In the studio, by the way, tonight, it's Ian.
I'm Tyler.
And Mark.
And the phone lines are open for you at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So we're talking about a guy who's apparently not a real guy at all, but he calls himself, or whoever his creator is, calls him Oliver Taylor. And he's a 20-something with brown eyes, light stubble, and slightly stiff smile. There's a nice smiling photograph of him here in this Reuters article, and to me, looks like a real guy, but experts say there's some telltale signs in this photo that he's not real at all, that he was generated by deepfake technology. And they spoke to some of the deepfake experts about this character, and they talk about how he's been, writing anti-Semitic things online, and actually was published in a couple of different newspapers who later tried to verify that he was a real person. They were convinced that he was real enough, and so they published his work. Turns out they couldn't verify that. So deepfakes like this Taylor guy are dangerous, they say here at Reuters, because they can help build a, quote, totally untraceable identity. This according to Dan Brahmi, who's got a startup in Israel called Cyabra that specializes in detecting these fake images. He said investigators chasing the origin of such photos are left, quote, searching for a needle in a haystack, except the needle doesn't exist. Taylor appears to have had no online presence until he started writing articles in late December. The University of Birmingham, which he claims to have attended, said in a statement it could not find, quote, any record of this individual using these details, unquote. Editors at the Jerusalem Post and the Allgemeiner say they published Taylor after he pitched them stories cold over email. He didn't ask for payment, they said, and they didn't take aggressive steps to vet his identity. So he just emailed. Why
would you?
Yeah, he emailed him, hey, I got this story I want to write.
Right. If somebody wrote a great story and sent it to me, and they, I'm not going to go through and ask for their driver's license and a bunch of stuff.
Ultimately, it doesn't really matter that much if it was a good story who wrote it, does it?
Not in the radio biz. People make up their names all the time here. I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. My real name isn't Mark Edge.
We're not a counterintelligence operation, said the editor-in-chief at Allgemeiner. He said although he noted the paper had introduced new safeguards since, after Reuters began asking about Taylor, the newspapers deleted his work. Taylor emailed both papers protesting the removal. But Times of Israel opinion editor Miriam Herschlag said she rebuffed him after he failed to prove his identity. One of them said he didn't respond to Taylor's messages. The Jerusalem Post and Arutz Sheva have kept Taylor's articles online, although the latter removed the, quote, terrorist sympathizers reference following a complaint from the people he was accusing. The Post editor-in-chief, Yaakov Katz, didn't respond when asked whether Taylor's work would stay up. Arutz Sheva editor Yoni Kapminski said only that, quote, in many cases, news outlets use pseudonyms to byline opinion articles. So they do it too. Kaminsky declined to elaborate or say whether he considered Taylor to be a pseudonym. Oliver Taylor's articles drew minimal engagement on social media, but the Times of Israel's Herschlag said they were still dangerous, not only because they could distort the public discourse, but also because they risked making people in her position less willing to take chances on unknown writers. Quote, absolutely we need to screen out imposters and step up our defenses, but I don't want to set up these barriers that prevent new voices from being heard. And this is the trouble that these folks have come across here with these deepfakes is, they've got some sort of a reputation for saying this person is who they say they are, and here's their opinion. Well, now they've published somebody who doesn't actually exist's opinion. And does that matter, ultimately?
I tend to think not. So at this point, we're not claiming that the articles themselves were generated by a computer. Right?
That's not being claimed. Correct.
Okay. So what we're saying is that here's a fake picture. Right?
Yeah.
So when you write an article, sometimes there'll be a picture. Generally, there is not a movie, just a picture of you. And, some authors don't put their picture at all.
That's true.
And some authors do. And I just don't, this to me is much ado about nothing. If they would have gotten the picture of some Russian peasant who is normally working in the field and instead was shorn and shaved and whatever, dressed up for this particular picture, taken the picture and then rushed off, paid him 1,000 rubles. I don't know what 1,000 rubles is worth. And, off they went to use his picture as a byline for whatever their articles are, which appear to be somewhat distasteful. But whatever. I don't think the Russian peasant would care much as long as he got his money for the picture taken. Right. And he did. It was 3 hours he didn't have to spend in the field pulling turnips or whatever.
Well, in this case, you don't even have a real person. In this case, it's just a computer-generated man, apparently.
I've got it that it's a computer-generated man, but, what if it wasn't? So what?
I mean, at this point, it's kind of like a ghostwriter, right? But
yeah,
what if it goes deeper, right? What happens when the government decides they want to make the perfect candidate? Or even worse, what happens when they want to make a boogeyman, a villain to go after?
Right, who doesn't even exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How are you going to prove that it didn't happen?
Yeah, and so I tend to agree with you on this one, Mark, that it's relatively insignificant what has happened here, but I think Tyler's point is really well taken.
I agree with Tyler that anything the government gets a hold of is terrifying.
Definitely.
Sure. And don't forget that corporate America will be using this very soon. You'll have this guy's picture on some Amazon review. Pretty soon, it'll just be everywhere. You can't believe anything that's written anymore.
No.
It was nice back when the sum total of human knowledge was contained on your cell phone, but sorry, ladies and gentlemen, now you're going to have to start employing your brains again.
Well, that's the thing.
You can just move into the new world order that's coming and, just go ahead and suck it up because this is how life's going to be.
Let's go to Alex. He's in Ohio watching on YouTube. Go ahead, Alex. Hello? Alex?
Hello. Hey.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You're on the air.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, actually, a lot of you guys hit the head on the nail. I think that ultimately...
Before you go on, I don't mean to be rude. Are you on a speakerphone?
No, I'm on a headset. Am I sounding garbly?
Yeah,
I don't think the headset's working. I think you're holding your phone too far away.
Well, it's not the greatest. Could you maybe not do the headset?
Yeah, I'll switch off my headset. Pardon me. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time.
Hey, is that better?
Okay, yes, it is better, I think. Go ahead.
Okay, much better. My apologies. Yeah, I think ultimately both of you have hit the heads on the nail in both aspects. I think deepfake technology is a lot of it is going to be very benign, ghostwriting. I mean, just think about like Stephen Colbert, right? He had this whole persona of, being a Republican anchor and doing the Republican things, but ultimately was like an Onion article, right? It was all fake and making fun of Republican stuff. But then you also have a very, very serious concern with, but what happens when Hollywood and the government gets a hold of this technology and starts influencing what we buy or influencing foreign affairs with this type of stuff, maybe even generating an enemy, generating a boogeyman, like as Tyler said.
I think that's one of the biggest concerns.
Well, it's like dynamite and guns and everything else. There is both a very good thing for dynamite and guns, and there's very bad things that happen with dynamite.
Sure, and that's always been true with technology. That's always been the case. I mean, it can be used for good. It can be used for destruction. And if Hollywood wants to make a fake actor, that doesn't matter. They've been doing that for years with CGI. I mean, we're used to that.
Right.
If a company wants to have a fake person rep their products on television, that's again relatively not unusual. Like we've had Toucan Sam and various different characters for years on that. Alex, if you have more to say, stand by. We can bring you back for that. 855-450 free. And maybe we're just barely even able to really unpack what the ramifications of this are. Maybe there's some stuff out there that these deepfakes are going to make possible that we haven't even really latched onto yet. But somebody out there is already thinking about it. 855-450 free, like freedom. It's Free Talk Live.
Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com.
Poor Sam was a mess. Always itching, licking. His paws were soaking wet. He had bald spots on his back. DINOVITE.com. 2 weeks after he started Dynamite, I started seeing great improvements, and today 99% of his issues are non-existent.
Dynamite is nutrition.
Dynamite is the best thing you can do for your dog.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynamite from DINOVITE.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free, bring up anything you want. Our toll free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. 855-450-3733. Thanks to Intercoin, every member of a community can receive a periodic airdrop of money that they can use on necessities. This UBI can be funded by outside donors or by the community democratically voting to gradually inflate their internal money supply. Community currencies powered by Intercoin enable communities to help their own without waiting for the federal government and without disincentivizing paid work. The arrangement is completely voluntary and democratic. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space. We think that's important here on Free Talk Live, so we accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. If you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains, or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. Intercoin.org. We're talking about deepfakes and where is this technology leading? You know, it's kind of fun in some ways, but it could be a little disruptive in other ways, depending on what is done with it. The idea of faking people, swapping faces, faking voices, and things like that. Let's go to Alex in Ohio, or back to Alex in Ohio. If you've got more, Alex, I presume you do because you stayed on the line. So go ahead.
Well, yeah, just going back to what Tyler was talking about insofar as what do you think the odds of a government getting a hold of this technology and creating a boogeyman, and then if you do think the odds are high of something like that happening, what do you think the ramifications would be if we caught them doing that? Like, would something actually happen out of that?
So I think it's almost a certainty, because if the government has a new tool and it's powerful, they will exercise it to the best of their ability.
Before you go on, I'd like to ask a counter question. What do you think the likelihood that the government gets a hold of this deep fake technology and uses it for good, for justice, for peace,
Zero.
for honesty? Yeah, no, that's not what they're going to do. That's not what they do. Nobody in their right mind believes they're going to get a hold of this duplicitous technology and use it for good.
I don't think he was saying that.
No, I don't think he was.
Right. Okay.
Well, and if you're asking what some of the ramifications are, I try and be an optimist. And one thing that I think that might be a positive coming out of this is people are going to have to reconnect in person. We're going to have to stop relying on what the internet's telling us. And we're going to have to question its validity every time something gets brought up, if it's purely online. So this might make people kind of reconsider the concept of a community. And that could be a positive. So.
Well, I absolutely agree with that. And I think that's what we should have been doing in the first place, taking individual responsibility for our information and how we consume information. If we wish to have because truth is kind of hard to find these days, but to find a good answer, we do have an individual responsibility to look at multiple sources and then kind of find the dart throw in the center of that stuff. So let's say go ahead.
As far as what you said about what the ramifications would be if we caught the government doing that, well, look what happened to Jeffrey Epstein, right?
I'm not sure what the hell happened to Jeffrey Epstein or if he was real.
Well, what America at large now knows is that there are pedophiles in elite rings in government and as captains of industry everywhere. And a lot of people's response to that was, yeah, but didn't we always kind of know that?
Sure.
Like that somehow excuses it.
Bill, I mean, if you pay attention to, was it Jimmy Savile in the UK? He was in a position of power and influence. He was, I think, an entertainer of some sort who was going around to hospitals and molesting people, apparently. And he was protected. They were covering up for him. And he wasn't just molesting kids. He was like molesting just people who were in, sick in beds and things like that. From what I understand about the case, somebody called in years ago about it. But this information came out after his death. And we've seen so many different stories of government corruption over our lifetimes. It's like just another drop in the bucket when you find out, oh, yeah, no, not only are these people killers, but they're also pedophiles, right? Like, so, okay, well, let's vote for the next guy.
And we always find out 30 years too late.
It does seem like it. And how will Americans react? I would like to field that. How do they react to I don't think anybody believes the Warren Commission's report on the assassination of JFK.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how have Americans reacted to that? I don't think very much. They continue to.
But we couldn't.
Yeah.
But you couldn't. If we don't have the declassified information, we have our theories and we have our stuff. But if they were to actually post an actual declassified information, like maybe WikiLeaks puts out that stuff, like the next Osama bin Laden was created and generated by the United States. It's a deepfake AI, and we just sent people to war for nothing.
Well, basically, they sent people to war for nothing the last time anyway.
Well, they'll build up whatever the story is in order to make it beyond whomever the central
weapons of
character
mass destruction. That was fake.
The fake Osama bin Laden too is just a tool of Al Qaeda. Don't look at this, Americans. This is ridiculous. WikiLeaks is crazy. Well,
there were even theories out there. Remember about Osama bin Laden? There were theories that he had. There were like stand-ins for him, and that he wasn't who or where they said he was.
That was the same thing with Saddam. That was the same with Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
Body doubles and different spider holes and everything else like that. Yeah, it's crazy.
And he worked for the CIA apparently at one point.
Osama bin Right, and did Osama bin Laden actually die? Because they kicked his body, quote unquote, kicked his body into the ocean, and then we never, that was it.
There's a lot of good questions.
SEALs kick his body into the ocean.
Yep, a lot of good questions about that stuff. And so we've seen so much corruption from government. Most people understand that they expect the government people to be liars and thieves, but they keep voting for them.
I continually,
nothing changes.
This election is glorious because what we have now is two crooked old perverts running against each other. I mean,
that's probably what you've always had. It's just now clear.
Right. Now there's no kidding, right?
Yeah.
And I will look people in the eye and I'll say, nope, I'm not going to vote for a crooked old pervert this year. I'm voting for George Jorgensen, the libertarian. And then they'll tell me why their crooked old pervert is better. There's nothing you can say to convince me that your crooked old pervert is better than the other crooked old pervert. And then they just go ahead and say some more because they don't know what else to do. I mean, these are like poor animals put into a maze, delivered electric shocks over and over again, starved to the point of madness, and they don't know. Americans have lost their minds. Americans, if you go to the polls and you vote for people who are clearly liars, no kidding, they're lying, they're lying, then, I don't even know what to do with you. This is why I say the land of the free is lost. I mean, forget about China. Americans destroyed America.
Go ahead, Alex.
Yes, I understand the passion that you have, and that is not an irrational thing to say. But I think we, as a people, as free and individual people as we can, I think when we look at these global events and, the federal issues and stuff like that, I mean, you can just get information overload in you, and you just lock up, and it's like, well, look at all this madness. Oh my God!
I know they do, but if you tell them that they could vote for the libertarian, and they continue to say that they're going to vote for one of the crooked old perverts, I mean, I don't know what to do with that.
Alex, thank you for calling tonight. Appreciate.
They can't win. Well, of course they can't win. Your dumb butt won't vote for them.
Yeah. Thank you. I do appreciate the discussion. We got more. Plenty of time for you on the way. If you want to join us, 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
News from news.bitcoin.com. BTC miners give off a signal of intending to sell. Does this mean a bear cycle? New Zealand police seized $91 million from a Russian exchange operator. Anti-crypto SEC head stepping down, making Bitcoin ETFs more likely. And you can make money by referring people to exchange.bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Facing mounting criticism that lethal injection is cruel and outdated, Ohio has replaced it with a system that quickly and humanely rips off the heads of death row inmates using powerful robotic arms. The new device is designed to be as humane as possible, emitting soothing white noise and putting prisoners on a cushioned seat before its metallic talons dig into their necks and painlessly wrench their heads off. Ohio Department of Corrections Director Gary Moore praised the machine, saying, quote, "Our new system is a hallmark of compassion. Now these deaths will be pain-free because the machine's claws are coated with topical anesthetic." Quickly pulling off a prisoner's head is considered less cruel than lethal injection, which requires 3 separate chemicals. And Ohio isn't the only state changing the way it handles capital punishment. Last month, Texas unveiled the Machinator, which humanely squishes up to 50 prisoners at once. Coming up next, is anything valuable buried in the woods behind my house? Our team of investigators finds out.
This is the Onion News Network.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free. Take control of the airwaves here. Number 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And that's where you can join us and sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. I'm Ian.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Mark.
So you can bring up anything that you want. We've been focused on deepfakes, and a lot of people called in about masks here tonight. I did say I had a list because Walmart made big headlines this week because they're going to be rolling out a mandatory mask policy supposedly in the next few days. And apparently others, as you probably guessed, are following suit. CNN reporting that CVS and Target are now announcing they will require customers to wear masks in their stores across the United States as the retail industry moves to enforce mask mandates to supposedly slow the spread of coronavirus. CVS tweeted Thursday saying, quote, "We're joining others in taking the next step and requiring all customers to wear face coverings." they said. Target said in a statement they would start requiring masks or face coverings starting August 1st in all stores. Quote, this builds on the more than 80% of our stores that already require guests to wear face coverings due to local and state regulations. They say they will provide disposable masks at the entrances to customers who don't have them. Walmart, Kroger, Kohl's, and others have already said. Apparently, Best Buy announced Tuesday, according to a list at Yahoo Finance. Let's see. So Walmart with 4,700 plus locations, Starbucks with their 15,000 plus locations, BJ's Wholesale Club, Apple Stores, Costco, CVS, as we mentioned, Target. Let's see, Menards, Kohl's, Kroger, and there I'm sure will be more coming. It's the pile-on time where every corporation's got to show how obedient they are. Now, of course, the question is, are the corporations doing this because they actually believe it, or are they doing it because they believe that people believe it, and this is what people expect them to do? This is a market pressure that is operating here. This is what people want. Is this what people want? Well, I don't know.
I don't think I want to go into Walmart and feel like I'm walking through the TSA, but I feel like that's where we're heading. Even in grocery stores now, you've got little signs on the floor, tells you what direction you got to walk.
And people are real indignant about it. Like, they just stuck some stickers down on the floor, and suddenly you care. What difference does it make to you how what direction a person's passing?
Has someone given you a hard time about this?
They gave my wife a hard time about it.
Really?
Some guy, some indignant a-hole up in New England. I mean, they're just full of cranky Yankees, and it doesn't surprise me in the very least. And it doesn't make a difference whether if somebody's 3 feet away from you because they're passing you,
right,
going the same direction you were. Because you're slow and you're looking at a can of soup.
Taking your time. Are you supposed to wait on everybody in the aisle till they
6
get
feet
through?
Away?
Till they get till they take their time and walk through the aisle and not pass them?
It's getting ridiculous.
Is there going to be a no passing rule coming soon in these stores?
Pretty soon. It's just they make it so difficult to go to the grocery store that you have to use their online shopping thing.
Do all grocery stores even have online shopping?
The ones that don't will go out of business, right?
Yeah, probably so. So you're seeing a lot of companies sort of jump on board here with this, and ultimately I find this very disturbing, and it's really frustrating to be out there amidst all this. And we're here in New Hampshire where it's nowhere near as bad as it apparently is in some other places, where in some cities there's 95+% mask compliance going on everywhere. And most people, they don't want to stir the pot. They don't want to get into an argument, although some people have. Apparently, there's been people who pulled guns and had loud arguments over these mask policies. So some people are really upset by being told to mask up. There was another story out of Utah where they were having a school board meeting of some sort, and it was about the upcoming school year policies, and a whole bunch of people without masks came in to this particular meeting. And so they postponed the meeting as a result of that, claiming that they were in violation of the state's rules on people being in a small place with no masks on. So
we can't go on.
Now they're not even going to have the meeting because people weren't wearing masks.
Yeah. Well, one thing we need is more ventilation in these indoor buildings. I mean, if we're going to act like everything's a big deal, people need to be able to come to these meetings. The problem
most
with
of them aren't even happening in real life.
The problem with these government meetings is that too many people came. Does it really matter if you have enough people in the room? Does it really matter if they have masks on or not? Because the viral load in the meeting will fill up.
That's the thing. It's all about show. That's what a lot of this is.
I don't know if it's all about show, but it's certainly somewhat about show.
A lot of it is. It's about, like you just said, what does it matter whether if there's 200 people in a room and it's a relatively small room, does it really matter?
And when you cancel events like that, now it becomes about compliance. It's like, if you want to do your business, doesn't matter if you want to or not, you better wear the mask or we're just not going to cooperate.
Let's talk to Paul. He's on the line in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Paul. Hello?
Yeah, Tyler, would you go to a New York City hospital in an intensive care unit and not wear a mask?
Are you at?
Would I? Is that what you're asking?
Tyler.
Yes. Would I go into like an ICU or something like that and not wear a mask? Is that what you're asking?
You mean as a doctor or as a visitor?
I guess either way, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah, I'll wear a mask. There are times where I think it's appropriate to wear a mask.
Why?
When you're in a hospital, you're almost certainly around immunocompromised people.
Mm-hmm.
It's out of respect for the healthcare workers who are exposed to the virus every single day. Yeah, and I think it's just good practice.
So why not do it at Walmart?
Well, I didn't say I didn't wear a mask at Walmart.
During a pandemic.
If a private company or a private store wants to ask me to wear a mask, I will. But like, if you're going to have the state tell me that I have to wear a mask when I'm out on the sidewalk and no one's around me, that's where I have an issue.
What if the state's right inside buildings? What we're talking about. I didn't talk about outside.
Okay, so you're saying, what is it you're saying? That the state should be able to dictate what people do in their own businesses?
No, I asked you, why would you wear a mask? And if you would wear a mask by your own volition.
Mm-hmm. Hey, James. James, all you have to do is apologize for threatening. Shut up!
If you don't tell the truth.
Hey, all you have to do is apologize for threatening my family. Turn him down.
I'm going to destroy your effing family. And I
baby. That's right. Threaten my child on national radio, you lunatic FBI shill. You government plant. Just go ahead and do it.
You identified him, man. I didn't think it was him in the beginning of that
All
call.
he has to do is apologize for threatening my family. What does his insane drunk ass do?
And he is drunk.
Doubles down.
He is drunk.
It was better than job of faking his voice.
Thanks for the
usual.
call.
Yeah, screw you. How's that?
I don't know how he was trying to pigeonhole me there, but I feel
Choke
like he
on
wanted
a
me to
Polish
say something.
sausage.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, James, number 25 talk show host in the nation today, and you don't get on the air because you're an insane, violent lunatic.
Well, he did get on the air.
Well, he did get on the air, but he can't stay. He wants to stay. He wants to talk about it.
Well, if he wanted to stay, he should not threaten people's, families.
All he has to do is apologize. Yeah. I'll let him back on. Just apologize. Yeah. But he's not going to do that. No. He'd rather threaten a 12-year-old boy. Because he was abused, clearly. I mean, I don't know what happened in his life. But, people tend to repeat their trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know how it happened.
Toll-free number tonight.
He says his father was a saint, but, who knows?
855-450-FREE. Now, Tyler, you mentioned that you would wear a mask in a store if they asked you to?
Right. Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of people are trying to politicize this. I'm not going to wear a mask because I'm told to. I'm not in that camp. I'm very much pragmatic about it, and there's times to wear a mask. If I have to be in a close-knit room, there's old people there. If I'm asked to wear a mask by someone who owns the property, that's all fair game. But if I don't feel like a mask is necessitated, then I'm not going to wear one, even if it is enforced by some entity.
What if the entity asking you to wear one is doing it at the government's behest rather than their own choice, right? Like the governments in a lot of states, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, other places, are saying, businesses, you must enforce the mask mandate. You are now our enforcement arm, and you must force this on your customers.
Well, let's hope they're not enforcing it very hard. That's my first thing.
Okay, 855-450-FREE. I don't know how hard they are. That's a good question. I don't know what level of
if I walk into a store, I'm not wearing a mask until I'm told to, right? Or if they have a sign posted. But and that doesn't happen very often. And if they do, politely ask me to wear a mask, I'll put one on.
The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. I will politely refuse and turn around and walk out. We're coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
Hey, Self-Reliance gardeners, now that you've got your crisis garden planted, the next step is to make sure all your vegetables are going to grow like crazy the rest of the summer. For that, you'll need an all-natural, full-spectrum plant food that works to not only maximize nutritional uptake for you and your family, but is also guaranteed to make your fruits and vegetables actually taste better. The name of the product is ProtoGrow, a proprietary blend of bioactive superfoods for plants designed to produce rapid plant growth in record time. So much so that it almost forces plants to grow even under the worst light and soil conditions. It does this by combining powerful trace elements and micronutrients from seaweed extracts with a balanced blend of macronutrients from cold water fish. The result? Vegetables grow faster than ever because they now have the essential bioavailable nutrients they need. Go to growlikecrazy.com to learn more. Huge summer discounts now available. growlikecrazy.com.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MechTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
This is novelist Tom Robbins. When my mother was diagnosed with glaucoma, her conservative Virginia physician told her there was only one treatment that might ease her pain and save her eyesight. That treatment was medical marijuana, which he could not prescribe. I offered to get her some and teach her how to use it effectively, but my father objected because marijuana was against the law. So my mother, who loved to read and walk in nature, was condemned to grow cruelly, unnecessarily blind. Tragedies like this happen all the time, but they don't have to keep happening. To learn more about medical marijuana, call the Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or visit them on the web at mpp.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
All right, it's another edition of the Edgington Post Show. I am Mark Edge, for Free Talk Live, and every once in a while in life, you get a golden opportunity. And today is my golden opportunity. I have with me Dr. Thomas DiLorenzo, whom we have spoken about many, many times on Free Talk Live and his books. Doctor, are you there?
I'm there, yeah. I'm here, Mark. How are you today?
Excellent. Thank you so much. So, your books seem obsessed about Abraham Lincoln. Why don't you like America?
I'm not obsessed. Well, I just I have a new book coming out, The Problem with Lincoln, that Regnery Publishing talked me into writing. It's been 17 years since The Real Lincoln was published.
Yep.
And The Real Lincoln was #2 in sales on Amazon when it came out. And so that probably has something to do with why they asked me to write another one. But in the meantime, I've done a lot more research over the past 17 years and reading and writing. And so have other people. There's a lot of new research that I incorporated into the new book, The Problem with Lincoln, that did not appear in the earlier writings. And also, I think, the Civil War is the biggest, most important event in all of American history in terms of politics, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it is.
There's just so much of it that I think is wrong in the history books, and that's what motivated me to write this book. And I wrote it from the eye of a professional economist and not a historian, and that's, I think, what makes my books different from your typical biography.
And the Americans seem to think that, whatever's happening today is the most important thing to happen. But, Americans truly did pick up arms and fight each other in 1861, right? North against South. And in many cases, counties were split and families were split, and it was a terrible time. Now, it's pretty obvious, the way we are looking at racial tensions right now in America, that the Civil War must have absolutely been about slavery, right? In 1861, when people picked up arms, that must have been over slavery.
Well, in my new book, The Problem with Lincoln, I have it as an appendix, Lincoln's first inaugural address, and also Jefferson Davis's inaugural address, the full text. And they talked about, the purpose of an impending war. And what Lincoln said was, he said, I have no intent to disturb Southern slavery. And he said, you can read any of my past speeches, and I've said the same thing. And even in the same speech, he said that he was in favor of a constitutional amendment. It was called the Corwin Amendment, that would have made it impossible for the government to ever interfere with slavery. But in the same speech also, he said it is my duty to collect the duties and imposts, by which he meant tariffs on imports.
Taxes.
And then he says, beyond that, there be no invasion of any state. So he literally threatened an invasion over tax collection. And then when the Congress issued its War Aims Resolution, which is also known as the Crittenden-Johnson Resolution in 1861, they said the same thing. They said it has nothing to do with interfering with what they call the domestic institutions of the states, which is slavery. And they said is to save the Union and to uphold the Constitution was what they said was the purpose of the war. And so the issue of slavery was not an issue at the beginning. Lincoln did not invade the southern states to do anything about the slaves. If the war would have ended after the first week, he would have done nothing. He promised that he would do nothing because saving the Union was always the objective. So, and of course, saving all that tax revenue.
Right. And a lot of people don't want to look at it over the taxes. It's a much neater package that we've been handed in high school that, it was all over slavery and those sorts of things. And it just doesn't fit anything about what Lincoln said or did. So, I mean, the Emancipation Proclamation wasn't written until about halfway through the war with the intention of hopefully getting some black folks on to fight on the side of the Union. And I can totally understand why they would choose to fight on the side of the Union. But and I get the reasoning behind this this twisted narrative that we've been handed. It's just not true.
Well, yeah, and in the problem with Lincoln, I also include as an appendix the entire Emancipation Proclamation. And in it, Lincoln calls it a war measure. He doesn't call it an emancipation measure. He calls it a war measure. And it specifically exempted all the areas of the South where the Union Army was in control at the time, including the entire state of West Virginia. So in other words, it only applied to Confederate territory.
Right.
Where the U.S. government had no ability whatsoever to emancipate anyone. And Lincoln also said, if the Union is reunited on the next day, it would become defunct. They would have no force. And of course, it did not have the force of law. It was just the words of a politician. Slavery was actually ended by, of course, the 13th Amendment after the war. And so, and Lincoln at the time was excoriated about this by the real abolitionists in the North. He was not an abolitionist. He once joked to a New York audience. He said, we have abolitionists in Illinois. We shot one of them the other day. Ha ha. And so he was excoriated by them and a lot of Europeans also who thought this was hypocritical. And I think the real purpose of it, as you alluded to, was to try to instigate slave rebellions in the South, but that never happened. It didn't work. It didn't work out that way. And this happened after the Union Army was losing terribly, battle after battle, in the first 2 years of the war. And so it was another attempt to create a disruption in the southern states, which never occurred.
Surely we can say that the secession of the states that occurred was treason, right?
No, actually, that's one of the things that the truth is the opposite of what you're taught in school. If you read Article 3, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution, it defines treason, and it says treason is defined only, and it uses the word only, as levying war upon the United States or giving aid and comfort to their enemies. And the key words there are them and their, because at that time in history, the states were called free and independent, which is the language used in the Declaration of Independence. And so when they said waging war against them, it meant Virginia, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, the individual states. So literally, the definition of treason in the Constitution is waging war against the individual states, which is exactly what happened when Lincoln invaded the individual states of the South. And so he was guilty. He and all the Republican Party were guilty of treason, in my opinion, on that. But at the same time, Lincoln himself he took it upon himself to redefine treason as criticism of himself and his government policies. And we sort of have gone with that ever since. Criticism of Washington, D.C., somebody will accuse you of treason one way or the other if your criticisms are hard-hitting enough. But that is not the definition of treason in the Constitution. What Lincoln did was the textbook definition of treason under Article 3, Section 3.
So, stepping away for a second here, this is a question that I simply cannot answer for myself, is why does the world look at the United States as a country and the EU as a federation? The difference between the two is vanishingly similar, right? They're both federations of sovereign states that have come together for the purpose of trade and military. It's really not military. NATO's handling it, but whatever. Basically the things the Constitution says. The United States is a proto-EU, but we look at Spain as its own country and North Carolina as a subsidiary of the United States. Help me.
Yeah, the original American system was, when the King George III signed the peace treaty, the Treaty of Paris, to end the Revolutionary War. He signed it with all the individual states by name. He named all the states, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and plantations. It was called Virginia, Pennsylvania. That's who the treaty was signed with, because each state considered itself to be a free country in the same sense that England or Spain or France were free countries. And if you read the Declaration of Independence, near the end, it says, free to do what? Well, to raise taxes, to raise armies, and to do everything that states do. And so that's why when Robert E. Lee was offered command of the Union Army, and before the war started, he said, no, I can't wage war against my own country and my own countrymen. And that's how the original system was created. It was a compact among free and independent states that were considered to be states in the same sense as England and France were states. That all changed after the war, and the war turned the U.S. into a consolidated monopolistic government. That's why we used to say the United States are, the word are, but it became the United States is after the Civil War. And that's where we destroyed true federalism. In the early 19th century, the U.S. and Switzerland had very similar systems of federalism as their defining characteristics. The Swiss have kept it by and large, but we ditched it in 1865.
You can hear the rest of this interview with Dr. Thomas DiLorenzo on his new book, The Problem with Lincoln, at archives.freetalklive.com. That's archives.freetalklive.com. Go there, search for July 2020 DiLorenzo.
How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
The latest episode
online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,812, silver at $19.73, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,203. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, a surprisingly large number of high-profile Twitter accounts, ranging from Barack Obama to Elon Musk and Kanye West, were hacked Wednesday in an apparent Bitcoin scam that fooled online users into handing over at least $130,000. The Mind Unleashed reports the official Twitter accounts of Apple, Uber, and Square's Cash App were hacked in the cryptocurrency scam, as were accounts belonging to billionaires Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Mike Bloomberg, and Elon Musk. Rapper Kanye West, former U.S. President Barack Obama, and Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden also fell prey to the hackers. Each of the Twitter accounts have millions of followers. In various tweets, the accounts posted messages requesting the followers send USD $1,000 in Bitcoin to specific web addresses, after which they would get double the contribution in return. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. Nearly 90 people were arrested and now face felony charges after refusing to disperse in a protest demanding justice for Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old black woman who was shot to death in her home by Louisville police that ended on the lawn of Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. Demonstrators now face 1 to 5 years in prison if convicted on felony charges under Kentucky law. By all accounts, the protest was peaceful, as over 100 community members gathered near Ballard High School in Louisville, Kentucky, and began marching to the conservative Attorney General's home, according to a report from WLKY. The Mind Unleashed reports community members were marching to demand that officials charge the 3 Louisville officers who shot Taylor to death in March, while executing a no-knock search warrant at her home. Researchers are decrying collapsing birth rates around the world, which they warn will result in profound social change if governments don't roll out new productive health policies. Spain, Japan, Portugal, and Thailand are among the 23 countries that could see their populations more than half in a jaw-dropping trend. While the global population is expected to peak at around 9.7 billion around 2064, the population will fall to 8.8 by the end of the 21st century. The Mind Unleashed reports that according to a new study by researchers from the University of Washington Institute for Health Metrics and published in a peer-reviewed medical journal, fertility rates are presently in freefall, and the rate is expected to fall even faster in coming decades. Fertility rates, or the average number of children women give birth to, are a key indicator for population stability. When the number falls below an average of 2.1, populations start to shrink. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Jack Daniels announced today its plan to start marketing directly to children, adding, quote, "Why not?" Executives for the whiskey company told reporters that they've already slated dozens of television spots showing 10-year-old children drinking tumblers of Jack and Coke in playgrounds, and that the company was planning on, quote, "just seeing how it all played out."
Every year, Jack Daniels sells millions of dollars of great American whiskey to men and women all over the world. So, for our next ad campaign, we basically just thought, hey, why not just start marketing this stuff straight to 10-year-olds? I mean, if they catch us, but we'll see how far it goes, and hopefully we can sell some alcohol along the way. Sure, some parents groups could get upset, especially if we go with our idea of moms serving their kids cranberry Jack at snack time. But
in other news, a doomed rabbit will teach an 8-year-old a lesson about responsibility, and a torrent of soap issues from a wildly unexpected part of the dispenser. Well, that was it. It's all downhill from here, bud. For more, visit theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Yeah, unafeared. Turn it down. Everybody's not yelling at me. Unafeared. And declare your independence with me, Ernest Hancock. And we got today and tomorrow here in Henniker, and then we go back to Arizona. We're going to be taking the Comrex with us, to do the show, because there's more stuff to do even while we're in Arizona. So that'll be cool. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we'll do some of the shows from Tim Pachotes. He's got a studio we can use. We'll go play up there. Maybe we can get Frank in there, and we can do, Tim and Frank and Ernie and Trump Report from there. That'd be awesome. So we'll have fun. And we're going to be going to Jackalope, the Jackalope Freedom Festival. If you look that up, almost got a site for it. And, the test was this. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop? 1, 2, crunch, 3. So we'll see. The Jackalope, we're trying to keep it, man. I'm just camping, man, with hundreds of my closest friends. Who's in charge? Jack. I don't know Jack. Crap. So we'll see how that goes. But she's getting it all organized and a bunch of stuff and people, and that, when all the other festivals are down, the Jackalope, man, it still goes because there's nobody to say you can't until the man shows up and says you can't. But I don't think they've closed the forest. And that's one thing about Arizona. All indications talking to people, they're just, bite me, and what I am concerned about is people just ignoring and just staying open. Who are those guys? Now, I talked to Dave Hodges, the Common Sense Show, earlier this week, and he said in Wickenburg is, and a small town about. If you look at Phoenix as the valley, and you on the map you'll see Phoenix. In the northwest corner of the valley up there is where Sun City is, and about another retirement Del Webb community up there, and Sun City West, which is the active community, and you got to make sure they know that because everybody, goes golfing, and about every 5 years you have. I think they do this on purpose, man. They have a story. Oh, these senior citizens are out there. We caught them having sexual relations in the sand trap of the Hillcrest golf course of whatever. So they're having some fun up there. But about 20, 30 miles, northwest of that is Wickenburg. Now Wickenburg is kind of out of the valley, up in the foothills of some other where mountain ranges come together, and it's a beautiful place. And that used to be where there was silver and gold mines up there. I think it was a lot of silver. And it made a community up there. Well, Phoenix wasn't the capital of Arizona was Prescott, which was up in, kind of mid-level height, kind of like a Denver thing. And it's been getting really popular, and it's getting California-gated all to hell, because here comes all these guys from California. Man, this is like just like Southern California. We should make it all like California, and you guys don't have enough taxes to pay for sidewalks and street lights, and you're doing it wrong. And then they go, whoa, 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 get out of here. And who comes are the sociopathic politicians. And they go, well, we can make us some money. We know how to do this. We'll take over here. So that's kind of what happens. And so ew. But it's a nice community in rolling hills, and it gives you some terrain, and you got a lot of sun, and there's a lot of people building up there. And that's one of the places kind of around there is where we're going to take a looky-see, and then we may get some land there. But that's where Dave Hodges said this small community said, bite me. So on a downtown area, there are 4 or 5 shops that. There was some that were kind of close together, and then one Mexican restaurant, mile or two away, said, we're just opening. Whatever you're going to do about it, we're just opening. And it looked like they got away with it, for the while. That's what's going to happen. It's just they're testing. What are we going to do? Let's go to court. Let's do it. We're waiting on you now. We got it's getting all kind of, organized to where, we want you to say it! Say that you're, the whole purpose of government is to, control you. Instead of, they're there to make sure you don't get locked down. Yeah, but the Constitution doesn't mean anything if. Oh, really? Let me tell you your if. Well, if alien invasion, virus invasion, some invasion of you're all feared. Freedom is you calculate your own. Okay, I give you a really good example. This is a good example. In Arizona in the early 90s, when we were doing a newspaper called Citizens Taking Initiative. Now, what that was about was initiative is a mechanism by which you can do petition to get an issue, a statute or a law passed in Arizona by the people. You get enough petition signatures for whatever the verbiage is, and then it goes on the ballot and people vote. A referendum is when the legislature passes a law and you got 90 days to do a petition to put it on the ballot so the people can go, no. And oftentimes when you get the signatures, they just change it. They go, no, we don't want the people, because now in Arizona, in the late 90s, they had an initiative to decriminalize marijuana. And it wasn't fully, but it was, a step of whatever. And it was paid by, what was his name? Sperling, I think his name is, the guy that owns the University of Phoenix. So he's a gazillionaire that got all this federal, guaranteed loan money of whatever. So University of Phoenix is like an online university and is really popular and made lots of money. And he definitely wanted to smoke his marijuana. I get that was a big thing with him. So they got it passed or got the signatures collected in the 98. I think it was the 98 election cycle. And when they did that, it went up and it won like 70-something%. It was 76% or something. It was amazing. and this was one of the first in the nation, and they went, whoa, what the hell? Damn, Arizonans, man, you guys. So as soon, and this passed in November, by January, when the legislature came back in, they go, nah, we undid it. We passed a law that changed that law, and you're not allowed because we're the legislature. Really? Well, when they did that, then Sperling came in with a bunch of money, and they passed an initiative that says if an initiative is passed by the people, it takes a supermajority for the legislature to undo it. So, I don't know, it's 2/3, 3/4, something like that. And so they go, damn it. So now when an initiative gets signatures, if they really don't, want that law challenged or like a referendum that, the legislature shall never do this again without a supermajority kind of thing, they usually pull. They just go, whoa, we don't want the people to have like a permanent law they want. It's just weird. But when they want something like, universal health care, which is a thing called access in Arizona, poor get, medical coverage for whatever, or they want a new tax on liquor and cigarettes and, all this kind of stuff. They pass it by initiative. That means it's pretty much there forever. So it kind of has a double-edged sword thing. And you're going, damn it. This is... So there was one mandatory auto insurance that applies to this. When we come back, I'm going to tell you about that legislation. Mandatory auto insurance and how that plays into this stuff. I'm looking... And then when we come back, I'll tell you who's coming on today. It's going to be the second hour. Melody Krell. Oh, man, you want to get off conspiratorial, invisible shadow government. And then, of course, in the third hour, Trump Report.
Are you feeling confused about the current economic reports that dominate the headlines? Not sure if this is a good time to buy or sell your home, or feel like the process can be overwhelming and confusing? This is Donna Hancock with Silver Alliance Realty in Phoenix, Arizona, and I can take some of the guesswork out of the home buying or selling process, providing you with market trends in your area and detailing what to expect before, during, and after the process. A home is a place where the most important moments in your life happen, so making sure that you know exactly what to expect along the way helps to ensure that you have control. The future is here, so let me help you move forward with your real estate needs. Being in the real estate business for almost 20 years now has afforded me knowledge of the market, networking with industry specialists along the way. Now more than ever, you need an agent that can help you make sense of what many think is a complicated and mysterious process. Feel free to call or message me at 602-828-1819. That's 602-828-1819. Or visit my webpage today at donnahancock.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's plus continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You're already listening to LRN.FM, whether via our 24/7 satellite feed, online streaming audio, or our video feeds. LRN.FM's content is available in multiple ways, but what if all you have is your phone and no data connection? You can call our listen line at 641-793-8869. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-8869.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. You ain't gonna make it. Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Okay. I want to talk about the mandatory auto insurance and our experience with that. I've told this story before, but a lot of new guys, and you probably don't remember how it applies to COVID. Okay. In Arizona, it passed, I guess, in the 80s or something. It was before I was active. They did what's called a sunset clause, which means, okay, nobody wants this. All right, we'll just do it for 10 years. We'll revisit it after 10 years. We have to redo it after 10 years. Well, of course, that 10 years is the industry, lobbyists, and they went through a bunch of, shenanigans, and it was a thing. But building up to that, we happened to come across this, and I was just like, this is why you got mandatory. Where'd that come from? And we had an initiative, or someone came to me, and they it was a gentleman named Ricky Duncan. He was a retired roofer, and he just had a thing on it, and contacted me in our newspaper and explained what was going on. I go, wow, this is a good issue for a lot of reasons. I'll explain. What happens with insurance is that you are protecting your assets. They don't want you to think that. They say you have some obligation to protect somebody else's assets. And you go, no. The reason you get insurance is so that if you run over the little kid on the tricycle or something, that you don't lose everything. And what if you got a $300 jalopy of whatever? Well, I don't have that much assets. You better get some uninsured motorist. You better have insurance to protect your assets for when somebody doesn't have any interest in protecting theirs. So that's how insurance, the concept of insurance is. This mandated government, you got to have insurance. That's I'll explain. That has some roots. So what we did is we go, all right, the state, cannot mandate, any, contract with a third party or, whatever, and I'll explain. But when we did that, it was amazing, the pushback, from the government, industry. The lawsuits were, 2 loose leaf binders, 3 inches thick, and the reply, it was just overwhelming. It was like, oh my goodness, man, if they aren't ready for this one. Well, it certainly wasn't the people, and this is why. When you get insurance, this bus, I'm going, that would suck to, get in a wreck and not have this, and then they sue and they this and that and whatever, so you get insurance to protect your assets. And if you made a mistake or something happens, that you're covered so they don't take away everything, your future earnings. You get liens against you, they take your home, they take this, they take that, I got insurance. So when you don't have any assets, you're like, and then if you do something criminal, you go to jail, but that was not what insurance was about. Now, in the free market, when it wasn't mandatory, what happened for your business, because you had an option not only of which insurance provider you got, it was not getting any. So that free market force, the wallet voting, had a big impact. So insurance was as cheap as it could be and enough margin that they made money. And then the government came in, no fraud, the insurance commissions and so on. Because insurance always says no the first time, no. Really? Well, and then you have the government come in that's, protecting against force and fraud. So I go, all right, that's, legitimate. I can live with that. But what they did is they said you had to. Now, when that happened, what happened? insurance rates skyrocketed. It got more because you had to. So they, stuck Uncle Sam or, whatever your local Uncle Sam is, finger into the pie, and then prices went up. Now, uninsured motorist was the cheapest part of it. And then they set standards. It has so much of this, so much of that, so much, this is the minimum coverage, that kind of thing. Well, that just made, a bunch of money for, personal injury lawyers. I mean, here you go. So it just, whenever you have mandates, it jacks up the free market all over the place. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have liability. You go, hey, but they don't have anything. Then what? Well, you get uninsured motorist. Now, uninsured motorist was pretty cheap. It was, okay, if that happens, you paid an extra however much a year in case the other person didn't have insurance. After the mandates, 10 years later, what they find out? That the insurance, was so much more, you've been cheaper not to have the mandate, and those that wanted the insurance would get it at, a fraction of the cost, including uninsured motorist. So, but it wasn't. It was a Karen thing. Oh, but they should. The illegal aliens didn't have insurance, and they shouldn't and they never got it anyway. Hell, they couldn't oftentimes. So you have this unintended consequences everywhere. Well, this was the argument that, had it of interest to me. What Ricky had done is he was a scrapper. I mean, he'd always go to auctions and get stuff, and his big thing was bicycles. He had 100 bicycles in his backyard. He was always, putting them together and swapping parts and selling them at, swap marts and all that kind of stuff. So he came across in an auction these really nice leather-bound binders. So that's what he wanted, and he got them for a few bucks or something. But in them it was a judge that had died, and it became part of his estate and wound up on the auction because they were nice leather-bound binders. But when he opened them, there were a bunch of court cases. Throughout his career, he had collected what he thought was the most interesting court cases, for some reason. But and for even a weirder reason, Ricky read them. And one of them was about the 13th Amendment being ratified. It was the involuntary servitude anti-slavery thing in the U.S. Constitution after the Civil War. Well, in there, it said there was a case that had freed slaves were now not working for any plantation owner or something. So who was driving the buckboard delivering cotton? Who was that guy? Well, it was, one of the freed slaves, or a bunch of them. They go, hey, man, you still need your cotton delivered. Your son ain't doing it. You gotta hire me. Yeah, hire me. That's it. And then the plantation owners and these damn uppity blacks making money, and they got a contract. They want me to pay them more. Damn it, I used to own you, boy. So they passed a law. I guess they call them Jim Crow laws. So they passed these laws saying, well, if you're black, and they couldn't get away with that. So then they said, all right, if you're going to haul anything on the roads, you have to have a $500 bond, which might as well have been $1 billion back then. So you have your buckboard, you got to have insurance or a certain amount of assets. Well, that was the plantation owners. They had plenty of assets, so they'd have to contract under them and they get a cut, that kind of thing. Well, that was ruled unconstitutional under the 13th Amendment because it forced you into a third-party contract. A contract with another party made money on this thing, which was mandatory auto insurance. I want to detail that a little bit more when we come back. This is a really good point in history and law. We'll be right back. We'll talk about it.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock. To be a part of the show, call 602-264-2800.
This is going to apply to this COVID thing. I just want to give you a full circle. We go back to Arizona, and I'm just going to have to be political. Donna doesn't dig it, but this is how we got Arizona the way it is. All through the 90s especially, we were like, oh, hell no. It was a general public opinion thing. And so we're going to reinstitute some critical thinking, oh, my God, which has long tail. And especially, we didn't have social media then. You know, God forbid we have social media, you know, such as it is. And the issue was this. On the mandatory auto insurance, it was like the mandatory auto bonding, you know, buckboard bonding for workers that want to be able to commercially use buckboards to deliver cotton or whatever, but you're not our slave. Well, you know, a lot of people argue the 14th Amendment didn't free us slaves. It made all of us slaves. You know, we're equally slaves. So that mindset was what Ricky had. He goes, this is what happens. In the congressional record, when they were arguing over what this meant and that meant and this meant and so on, which is what this judge had in his papers, was the argument that the definition of involuntary servitude was being forced into a third-party contract. That was part of it. And that's what was going on when they were mandating that they get this bond or this insurance to be able to do commerce. So it was, of course, it was, you know, targeted for, you know, freed slaves, but it was, it's been, you know, we can do it with everybody. You know, it's like they go to all these developing countries and they go, your signature or your brains will be on this contract. We want, this is how all your oil gets, you know, all our oil wound up under your sand kind of thing. Well, when they go, no, well, then they'd assassinate them, they'd do a coup, they'd replace them, or they'd have a war. This is, you know, and then they were setting it all up for us. And I was talking to John Perkins, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. You know, I've had him on several times, and we were talking about it, and I go, well, this sounds like exactly what they're doing here in America in every municipality I know of. And he goes, yep. Because sometimes, you know, even cities have more GDP than freaking the countries they were taking over. So you think they wouldn't do the same thing? You know, and it's easy. They just spend some they, them, those money, and, you know, you get scumbag de la whatever order they're going to do. I give you what the hell's going on now. Well, where's the protection for that? You know, there's a lot of republic protection, constitution kind of stuff supposed to, but then they, you know, put compromised individuals on the Supreme Court, or they get them already messed up in the head anyway. So, I mean, you know, and there you go. So in the record, when they discussed it, they defined involuntary servitude as being forced into a third-party contract. Now, what that means is that it's not like you have a deal with the government. The government says something. No, the government goes, you have to buy this from this industry or this particular place, or you can only shop at Amazon or Walmart or something, right? So you're going, okay, you're forcing me in a third-party contract. Except this one was specific. You had to get this thing from this industry. Well, when they did that, you know, that was what Ricky Gay goes, no, they're not. They're forcing me into giving money to a company. You know, what the heck? That's fascist. That's definitely what this country was trying to prevent. And I go, oh, that's a good point. So think about all the things. I'll give you a good example. They had every year, you had to go get your car emissioned. You drive into the emission thing, you wait in a long line, and for that month you're sitting there, while your car overheats in 100 billion degree weather, sitting there idling. So you're sitting there, and you go forward, and they stick something in your tailpipe, and then they started checking all kinds of stuff in your sensors, and your gas cap, pressurized, blah, 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 blah. I mean, all kinds of crap. Now, I remember as a kid in Florida, they charged you by the weight of your vehicle. It wasn't the value of it. It wasn't, it was just, how much wear and tear did it do on the road? Do you have lights, turn signal, and brakes? And the steering. I mean, it was a safety thing. So you go, all right, I kind of live with that. In Arizona, it was based on the value. It was a personal property tax. That's what it is. And we did, elimination of the personal property tax, which would have included the fee you pay on your vehicle due to its value. If you bought a new, look at my new Corvette, yeah, $600 a month. You think I'm kidding? You get it got there's a value, and it would be hundreds of dollars a month on expensive cars. It's like, wow, a lot of people didn't see that coming. That's part of they did the first year at the dealer, or part of the purchase price or something like that, and then then you got nailed it. So when you got like 10-year-old cars, it's $50 or something like that. So this is a thing. It was a popular issue that we brought up and being buttheads about it. Now, when you went to do your emissions, that was a private company. You have to go to Fred's emission thing over here, or a chain of people, a chain that was owned by different guys, because they had some government contract and filled out the right stroke dash form of give me money, and they have to. Mandatory auto insurance, mandatory emissions testing, mandatory, and it didn't matter. You had electric, you had a hybrid, you had a new car. You know, how much pollutant is a new car? I got to test it, every year in the first 3 years. What up with that? So it was just a money thing. Well, we highlighted all this. We're being buttheads about it. These kind of little things change people's perspective, their general public opinion on what the role of government is and what they're doing and how they're screwing you. So this is, when you think of it in this way, you're going, all right, what's a mask? Are you so altruistic you think you're saving everybody, you're doing it for everybody else, and if you don't do it, you're killing my grandma? That's not the role of government. You have the freedom to wear a mask. Knock yourself out. The airline has the freedom to say, you have to wear a mask. But all this mandate stuff, it puts their finger into the free market. What if I want to go on Fly and Die Airlines? I want to go on Fly and Die Airlines. They give me a 9mm when I get on because I forgot mine. You don't have to wear a mask. The seatbelts, what's that? I mean, I need the freedom. Freedom is the answer. What's the question? And what was the question? Well, do I have the freedom to save money? Do I have the freedom to be safer? Do I have the freedom to, oh my goodness, I got, space cars, Jetson fold up in my briefcase, whiz bang to some kind of go because the government's out of the way? This is, all of these controls has greatly diminished your standard of living and your health and how long you live. And now what happens? Yeah, you're living too long. You're not a producer and you're sucking off the system too much. We need to kill you and you're dead. So I just got a text from where my mother is staying at a nursing home, and she enjoys. She's got friends or whatever, but they for months in the room. They bring in their meals. They lock them down. My sister's trying to get her to come out. If she goes out, you can't come back in. How many COVID things do they have? This is an attack. There's something going on. There's a plan, and it needs to be addressed in logic and reason. Yeah, well, when does that happen? Michael Rowe is a guy that does the voiceover for a lot of Discovery Channel stuff and Deadliest Catch and everything. You see him, he's Dirty Jobs. He was a dirty job guy, and they're always going safety first, and he goes, no, not in the real world. If they did safety first, nothing would ever get done. He's going, nope, safety not last, but it ain't first. It was third or something for some reason. But it's our whole mindset is changing, and he has a foundation for trades. Because they're the ones making six-figure incomes and got a job because they're essential. You want to know what essential job is? It's the ones that are essential. Like the power goes on and stuff. So there's a paradigm shift coming, and there's a there is a root of understanding of the proper role of force. This ain't it. It's just fear. This isn't safety. This is fear. Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your